Sound production.
Good evening, gentlemen. It is your boy, Sir Yeetus. Welcome to episode 195 of Yeetus' Thoughts. Before we address this topic at hand, I would like to talk to you guys about my channel being demonetized this morning, which I personally believe is bullshit, right? Because they want to give the excuse that it's for reusable content or something like that, or reused content. But I've been doing this for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. Then all of a sudden they have a issue. Like, like the fuck, you know? The only reason I got annoyed is because I was literally good to go with the membership thing that you guys were talking about, right? And I've been speaking on it for a while. But now I guess we can't do that anymore. But I got over it pretty quickly because I've been doing this ever since I wasn't monetized. So I'm just going to continue do what I'm doing with this channel, but there will be differences. There will be big changes going on, right? First, I will be creating a second channel. And two, I will be focusing on alt tech. So there won't be as many videos flowing on this channel as it usually does. You'll be seeing me focusing more on spreading my content around because eventually, if my channel does get yeeted, it makes no big deal. You guys know where to exactly find me. So I just have to address that right quick because there's people on this platform that literally does nothing, right? Just staring at a screen or pretending to react to something, not saying a word, just looking at the camera, and they're monetized, right? They have obvious reusable content. They don't put in any input whatsoever, and they're monetized. But as soon as I put out the truth about male issues and the atrocities of modern women, oh, I'm the evil one. I know we shouldn't be surprised, gentlemen, but I just gotta address the new path that I'm going to take because I'm not going to fight YouTube on this. I'm not going to do that. Plenty of channels did before me, and it just was a losing battle. So if you're not down with the narrative that they're trying to play, they're not going to fuck with you. So there will be plan B and plan C coming up very soon. But let me go ahead and invite the one, the only Gray Ghost. What's going on, Gray?
Good evening.
And I also will invite the one, the only Sandman. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. How you doing?
I am doing a lot better now. Today's been a bit crazy, but now, since I got that little rant off my chest, we can truly begin this topic. The topic for today, gentlemen, is don't get caught up in their web.
Okay.
Do not get caught up in their web. What do I? Oh, what's up?
Nothing. Just with regards to
okay.
what?
Gentlemen, there will be a good amount of people that works against us that's gonna be more aggressive or downright desperate to avoid the inevitable, right? What I mean by that is the slow decay of society, of things aren't as comfortable as they used to be, right? When things were all fine and dandy, they were quick to treat men as worse than dog, right? Lower than dirt. But now society, not society, but now around the world, things are getting kind of spicy. All of a sudden, they want to be feminine again. All of a sudden, maybe they don't want to be equal, and etc. But I'm gonna let you go first, Sandman. What do you think about this whole ordeal of the state or model women? They're gonna try, how you say?
Oh,
what's up?
I think that people in power are finally catching on to what's going on, and evidence of that today is what happened on Twitter, where you get H3H3 getting his Twitter channel, I don't know, it was terminated, but suspended, and then also anyone who was impersonating Elon Musk suddenly was just thrown off the platform. So he's going through and he's starting to literally clean house. So I think he had to get funding for Twitter. He couldn't fund it himself. So the people that are backing him, I'm guessing there's probably Peter Thiel in there. I'm guessing that there's probably banks that don't like all this woke madness that are coming out. All the woke TV channels and shows are being canceled right now. I think there's a massive backlash, and I think that the powers that be have kind of let it go on long enough, and I think they're starting to wind it down.
On the Twitter stuff, it was Ethan Klein. It's been outright banned.
Oh, it's outright banned, so it's not even suspended. Wow.
No, he's been straight up banned. I believe Kathy Griffin also got the axe as well, also for impersonating Elon Musk.
Yeah. So this is just starting. So again, Musk has the power, and I think he's got the power of the state, because literally his business is integrated into the government, right? With NASA and like the car business and all that. So you're going to start to see more of this kind of behavior. You're going to see more of the the woke being attacked for a change.
Okay.
Well, not even being attacked, just suffering the consequences that they haven't had to.
Well, I think the people in charge have realized that if you keep this stuff going, you demoralize the male population, and then the male population doesn't want to work as much. They're just like, this society, just let it burn, right? So I'm just going to sit and play video games and fap off all day. And so that, in effect, creates higher inflation, because then the cost of everything goes up because nobody wants to work. So then they're like, oh, what do we do? It's like, well, we got to get the men back to work. Like, how do we get them back to work? We've got to give them incentives. We've got to, give them maybe a girlfriend, maybe a wife. Maybe we need to maybe we need to bring back some of their good shows so they'll start, feeling moral, start feeling energized again. So I think the backlash has begun.
I agree. I definitely agree on that aspect, right? And since the backlash, and on top of that, things might get a little bit too spicy in the near future because of various ballistic missiles flying left and right and the current war in Ukraine, etc. Now we got a bunch of people that are switching sides, and we shouldn't be surprised, right? Martyr women and weak men, they move the goalposts. They don't stand firm on their beliefs. When they get scared, they cower and run
Well,
away.
did you see what happened in Georgia today? The governor basically said, no more wokeness in the classroom unless parents allow it. So now there's a teacher that went on and she was freaking out about, now we can't indoctrinate the children's. It's like, well, too bad. Like you're going to collapse the economy. You're going to collapse everything. So it's time to stop. Like we have to stop them. And it's not just us, it's the business interests who are now in the middle of a recession. Money is getting tighter. And they're realizing, wait a minute, we're wasting our money on all these woke shows that are losing money. It's a recession. Let's start canceling them all. So now they're just going through and canceling anything that's woke.
Well, interesting thing on that note, because like these shows, like they lose money at the box office, sure, but can we be certain that they're not receiving funding from some additional source, like activist groups, other stuff under the table? Because well, yeah, there's the box office failures, but I'm not entirely sure if the people who make the decisions are the ones directly losing the money.
Well, okay, look at Warner Brothers Discovery. So Warner Brothers just ended up canceling a whole bunch of stuff. They don't even have enough money, I think, for like 2 more movies. They don't have enough money to promote for the rest of the year. Like it's ridiculous what's going on. So money is becoming tighter for these content producers because nobody wants to buy their content and stream it, right? So the streaming services they're trying to sell it to are saying, no, we're not interested.
That's the thing. I'd be curious to know, is that because the stuff is failing or because the finances are drying up? Because let's say a bunch of stuff is laundered through various charities. When economic times get hard, charitable donations are bound to be the first things to drop off. And since these activist groups are usually funded by such charitable donations, like that could be why it's happening now.
I don't think it's just activist groups. I think it's just the culture at large. So, for example, if you're a corporation, you start looking at, when times are good, it's easy to like let failed projects continue, right? It's like, oh, well, these, we're doing a good cause, right? It's like, this channel, this YouTube channel or this TV show is losing money every year or quarter, but we'll let it continue because we're making so much money over there. We can cover that loss and everyone's happy, no worries. But now it's getting to the point where it's like, well, we are not making money off of these shows, and like people are not paying, people are pulling back, the streaming services, they're not growing as quickly. Well, maybe we need to start cutting back on certain shows and focusing our efforts on others. And they're realizing that the shows that are getting the worst ratings are the ones that are getting cut from the roster.
Especially when they're woke.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not watching woke shit.
No, I mean, what did they just cancel a couple days ago? They canceled Westworld. right? So the first season and a half was pretty decent, and then after that, it just like nosedived because they got lazy and they started getting a little bit woke. And yeah, the last season was just horrible. And then they're already assuming they're going to get season 5, and they didn't. They just got canceled. So,
Well, I'm sure that the powers to be don't like men like us speaking up, because we also say that the main thing that's going to get people's attention if men vote with their wallets, right? And this has been happening for the last 4 years, 3 years of my wallet,
well,
my choice, get woke,
well,
go broke.
it's not just voting with your wallet, like where you're going to spend your money, but it's also closing your wallet to new money coming in. So a lot of guys are basically going on a work strike, but they're not formalizing it. They're just kind of like saying, "Well, I'm going to stay home and play video games, and I'm going to work as little as possible. I'm going to lay flat, basically, and I don't care anymore." And when they do that, they lose motivation because they don't have women to basically get attention and love from. What is it, like 30, 40, 50% of guys now under 30 are single or haven't had sex in a year. So they're not, there's no carrot, right? There's no carrot to entice them to go and work and strive and make money and pay for mortgages and houses and all that kind of stuff. So that's creating a backlash because men need to produce, they need to overproduce so that they can give some of that resource base to women so that they can overspend. And that's not happening. So, we're in this situation where men are just kind of, they're not just withdrawing from women in relationships because it's a bad deal. They're withdrawing from work. They're withdrawing from social interactions. They're withdrawing from like everything. Because it's just like, why bother?
I completely agree. And you've been talking about this for years, but for the last couple years, especially in 2020, the rise of wedding shops closing, and not because of the 2020 situation, but literally men are just choosing not to go down that marriage route anymore. Like there's a huge discount off of wedding rings and engagement rings now. How you say, a lot more women than men are in the clubs. Like the ratio is way too big at this point. So a lot of women are getting left out when it comes to the dating scene.
I mean,
It's
it's also looks, right? Like who's going to date a tatted up land whale? Right. So who's going to
That is
marry a
also
tatted
true.
up land whale? Like are you going to put a ring on, someone that, like that's 400 pounds? Like, I don't like, that's wow. Like, she's going to waddle down the aisle. Like what's going on?
That is true. I don't want to. The parents' approval still matters to an extent. Still in 2022, I don't want to bring someone like that around my family or my parents. So that's another reason, right?
Yeah.
That
So imagine covered in like 500 tattoos, 400 pounds, like looking for Chad, with a 6-pack. And, is he going to take him home to mom? No. So what I'm noticing now is because so many local guys are starting to like go on strike, and it's an informal strike, the government here in Canada has gone completely insane. They're now allowing 500,000 new immigrants in every year. The immigration in Canada is, I think it's almost at levels like it's like, I don't know if it's like, I think it's like 1.5% of the population every year. I think we got like 37, 38 million people. I think, I can't remember exactly, but it's like well
damn.
over 1%. So they're bringing in so many people. They don't want to allow the housing market to fall. And also because guys don't want to work, all of a sudden new people coming in, a lot of them coming in from India, they take these like menial jobs that nobody wants to do, and they make money, and then they go and they date the white women. And I'm seeing this everywhere now. Right. And this was kind of something that you wouldn't see before. And now all of a sudden it's pretty commonplace. There's a
Well,
guy at
actually,
Chatan from the Himalayas. He pointed this out to
and
me, and I started looking everywhere. I'm like, no, like Indian guys, like really, like Caucasian women are going to go with Indian guys. Like, I don't believe this. And then like the next day, like I see a couple couples walking by, and I'm like, what the hell? Like he noticed this. Like, wow, I wouldn't have even paid attention unless he told me.
Well, here's the other thing. Like they bring a whole bunch of people in, like East Indian, like where I am. Like basically every fast food joint is staffed almost entirely by East Indian.
Where are you?
Kind of central Ontario.
Okay. So like
Yeah.
London or Cambridge or
No,
wherever-
way further north than that.
Oh wow, okay. So you're like up not Peterborough,
Not
Kawarthas, not like Simcoe, like
uh
North Bay,
for
not up that far.
for doxing reasons, like it's wait, not as far as North Bay.
Okay.
Like
But not Bear.
couple
Yeah.
couple hours north of couple hours north of Toronto, not as far as North Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah, it's
I thought
basically
so
largely staffed by East Indians. But here's the other thing: like a bunch of the money that is paid to these people, and there's a lot of it subsidized too. Like they're busing people in from out of town
Wow.
in order to staff these places. Because I guess it's cheaper to bus people in rather than just pay higher locally. But
I never
corporate
thought of that.
and-
Like, individual transportation is so expensive that like they're like literally like getting a bus of, 20 Indian guys and just they're going up to whatever place.
But then here's the other thing: like how much of this money is actually staying in Canada, being spent in Canada, and how much of it is being wired overseas?
Well, I mean, remittances are big business, but the thing is, again, it's all about nominal GDP. So these people are coming to Canada, they got to buy cell phone, they got to buy food, they got to buy clothes, right? They got to have a place to sleep. So those things are all boosting those sectors of the economy. Like those are things they have to pay for. It's the disposable income that they're sending back home.
True, but the thing is,
Well,
the disposable income is what keeps the local population functioning. Like, because you can't really finance local businesses off of like money that's being sent overseas. So, like, it's still a hole in the bucket.
Well, I mean, but like I said, if the population is growing, then your nominal GDP is growing, but per capita GDP is dropping. So businesses are making more money off of more customers, right? So it might not necessarily mean that they have to spend their money, some of their money in Canada. They can't send all of it back home.
True.
yeah,
But
I thought the
but
US
if that was a
bad
factor,
when it
like,
comes to immigration.
but that's the thing. But like,
That was
think
bad.
of
Where's he at?
like if all disposable income is being sent overseas, then that's essentially the same consequence as a man not spending his disposable income on women or other luxuries.
But like I said, a lot of these Indian guys are now dating white women, so they're spending their money on them because they see
That is
these
true.
women as a prize, right? Like so they're
True. And
they're
yeah,
going after these women, and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So the women in Canada are realizing, wait a minute, like the local guys, they're lazy, they're not motivated. These guys are coming FOB, and they're working hard, and they're making money, and they're going to spend it on me, and they're thirsty, and like they're willing to do whatever it takes to be with me and give me attention. So that's why they're going in that direction. So
Yeah, I
I
guess
was
it's
just about
like
to say Indian men are beyond desperate. They're desperate. They're very desperate. And Indian men
yeah.
are
well, no,
not
like
fucking
look,
around.
I'm not seeing
Like,
like Indian guys that are like skinny 5'2" or 5'5" with like Caucasian blade. I'm talking like Indian guys that are like 5'7", 5'8", 10, 5'11", maybe even 6 feet tall, muscular. Like they look like Raj, right? They're like the Indian version of Chad, Raj. And the women that they're with are
well,
usually like 5, 6s, maybe 7s. So, in terms of
yeah.
like the local Caucasian population.
Well,
Yeah.
I know
Well, it might be
there's
more
I
of
know
a
there's many factors that comes to this shit, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, feminism in India is a lot worse than over here in the United States and Canada. So even though they are above average when it comes to looks, they still don't give a fuck because they rather deal with an average white woman, right? And once again, I know there's variables, but the main thing is the women back in India treat them like complete dog shit. So I see why they're like, all right, we will go over. Because I mainly saw them in Thailand. I saw a shit ton of Indian dudes in Thailand. But Canada, I did not realize that. Like Sandman just brought it up. I didn't know, but I see why they're flooding over there right now, because it's an easy green card and a basic white woman, right? Colorism, and on top of that, they're they're nice compared to the Indian women back at home. So I see what
Yeah.
Sandman's saying.
Yeah, I mean they're not being like abused verbally constantly, right? Like the local women around here, they can keep their mouth shut longer than a lot of the Indian ladies that I've met. So, hello?
Wait, Hermit. Oh, I'm still here. He
Is
says,
that
because
Happy
I know
Humble
I've seen
Hermit or is that
videos and
somebody
read
else?
that Indian men. Oh, that's somebody else. He's been around my channel for a long time. OG dude. I like the guy. Indian men are the least desirable demographic of men when it comes to women. I thought it was
Yeah, I thought that
actually,
too until I
not
started to see it change here.
yeah, I thought it wasn't it Asian?
So
I thought it was Asian guy.
so no, it's Indians. They were typically considered the least attractive demographic, and now all of a sudden, like there's Indian YouTubers that are like with white women, and they're taking them back to India and like meeting their family, and they've got like millions of followers and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I learned something new today. Because well, because Asian men are still low on the desirable demographic. I
Well,
know
now
they're not
here's the
that
thing,
high.
because like I have seen similar stuff as well, like, and not even recently, but yeah, like Indian dudes dating white women, but it's not like they're getting the 18-year-old virgins here.
No, of course not. They're getting like the mid to late 20s and beyond, right? Yeah, I know. I understand.
But it's pretty bad when they rather deal with that than their own women back at home.
Or their own women
Well,
here. Their own women here are
Exactly.
like princesses, right? They don't want to deal with them.
Agreed, because like chat, if you don't believe me, go look up how the system works. I will say downright misandrous system. Like India pretty much succeeded in the gynocentric society, because the men over there, for the most part, are so how you say
Your
weak
audio was
and
cutting out. I don't think
submissive.
I heard
It's
anything.
not even funny. Because guess what? The laws in India are a lot worse than the laws in the. Hey, do you hear me?
Yeah,
Barely.
you're hitting some lag spikes. That's all.
Oh, fuck the slack. Anyway, let me know if you can hear me clearly.
Now we can.
Okay. The laws in India are so much worse than the laws in the US, and how the system works over there. I feel for my Indian brothers over there. I really do. Because the false accusations over there are a lot higher. They get how you say domestically abused by their partners in front of everybody, and nobody does a thing. Nobody. She could literally be how you say stabbing a man. Nobody would do anything. So I feel for my Indian brothers over there that much rather deal with a middle-aged single baby mama in Canada.
Yeah, and the local girls here are not putting pressure on them to get married. They don't have to like go meet their parents. And even if they do meet their parents aren't going to cause problems for them. Maybe they are. Well, I don't know. That I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass there, but yeah, like look, I think it's like things are changing, the culture is changing, and the reason I think that Canada's bringing in so many immigrants is because they're working the jobs that like the locals don't want to work. So what happens when a lot of these Indian guys come in and then they don't want to work either, right? So what happens at that point? Right? So
Well, a slight thing on that. It's not. I wouldn't even say this might just be local to me, but it's not even so much that people don't want to work, it's much that they can't afford to work these jobs. Like
No, they
when
can't.
when your rent is $2,000 plus a month, you
Yeah.
can't afford to be working a minimum wage job part time. You can't even afford to work it. You can't afford to do it full time. The only locals who aren't getting any subsidies or outside funding, who can afford to work these kinds of jobs to begin with, are usually living with family or have a bunch of roommates. Like they're not able to live independently on these kinds of budgets.
Okay.
But look,
Um,
that makes sense. But also look in the United States, people aren't working those jobs either, and rents are a lot lower.
It could be that situation. I can only point at my
Depends on where
local
you are.
situation in this. Like just where I am locally, I know that most of these minimum wage jobs taken up by the East Indians, the locals literally cannot afford to work these jobs.
Yeah, like look, the locals can't afford to drive to these jobs because they need a car, and they're not gonna, they're not gonna get in the back of a pickup truck and stand, 20 guys and like like in Mexico or like along the border, or like here they're doing it in a bus, obviously, or like a minivan or something. But it's getting to the point where it's almost unaffordable, right? So it's like, and then they're sleeping in one room. Maybe there's 2 or 3 guys sleeping in one room somewhere to kind of save money. So like literally our country's being turned into a third world country, and we're not even seeing it because people just go into a house and we don't know how many people are inside and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I feel what you're saying. The major cities are getting cucked right now,
But
especially
it's not, but it's like Grey Ghost is saying, it's not just the major cities, it's also like where he's at, right? Like, so you're starting to see it out in the boonies.
Yeah, like this. Like, this is
true.
like
But I'm just saying the major cities are getting it the worst.
but
Because
that's
especially
even
with
the thing.
Philadelphia.
Like the major cities, they at least usually have a bunch of public transit that makes it so you don't need a vehicle. You get out here into the boonies, like between your car payments, your insurance, rising price of gasoline, like you're looking at least $500 a month, if not more, just for your transportation.
Yep.
And then you look at $2,000 a month rent on top of that.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
a minimum
yeah.
wage job, like you are in the red working 40 hours at minimum wage.
Well, this guy, Bully Bussy here, saying Hispanics can underbid any local contractor here in Texas. They can stack a house with a dozen dudes and send all the money back to their fans in Mexico, or fans, I think, just like family in Mexico.
Family.
Yeah, this is fans. So I'm like,
Oh.
wow, they got fans? Like, wow.
What are they, YouTubers or something?
Yeah,
that
that's what I
live
was
stream
saying, right?
Building
That's
a
funny.
house.
Yeah, it's like fans are going to watch them build the house. Yeah, maybe they got an idea there, right? They should do that. They should stream their house building in like time lapse.
But Gray, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Okay, I agree
Oh
with
no,
you.
I like all I have is an anecdote from my local area. There's many large issues
Right.
all across our countries that will change from location to location.
But what's going to happen
But
eventually is you're
no.
going to start to see things like I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and we're like, well, he's like, when's the collapse coming? And next year, I'm like, no. What's going to happen is like what's happening slowly. So, you go to the movie theater, now, and you're like, I don't want to go to this movie theater anymore because it's not clean anymore. I don't like the vibe of the people. It's just not like it. You don't feel safe or comfortable there anymore. So because the area has changed, like ethnic makeup. So you go to another place, and then eventually more and more places get, changed, and then you keep going further and further away, and then eventually you get to the point where you're like, well, I can't go anywhere, so I'm just going to leave the country. And so that's places like Canada are in the greatest danger of that, because capital is more mobile than ever. So eventually, if the country turns to shit, a lot of people are just going to sell, and they're going to go to someplace else. And then the country is going to but that might take another 10, 20, 30 years, right? Especially in the major centers. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that there's like you're gonna like they're getting the benefits of bringing in people today, but in the long run, there's going to be a change because you can't assimilate people quickly enough into the country, and then you got to pay for it long term. But most boomers don't care; they're going to be gone anyway.
Oh, don't bring up boomers. They're gonna flood my chat.
Get to that again.
Flood. Like,
Yeah,
how
we
dare
had
you?
like we had multiple live streams going over the generation gap, and it sparked one heck of a generational conflict between
Yeah, the
us and
boomers
some
were
of the
not
viewers.
happy. The boomers were not happy because I was calling out all the flaws of each generation. Because I wasn't just gonna rag on one generation. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call out Gen X, Boomers, Millennials, Gen Z, and we just gonna explain everything that's wrong with them, so we can eventually see if there's any type of patterns or anything that could possibly be avoided in a sense of like short-term and long-term problems. We had the most difficulty when it comes to the Boomers. That's and I'll say a little bit of Gen X, but the Boomers were pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't think Gen X really cares all that much.
Yeah, Gen X is just there.
Boomers are just not our fault. We didn't do it. It's like, It's like usually the person who defends themselves the most is the most guilty, right?
Right. Me and Gray, we shed on. I think we were worse with the millennials.
Oh god, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like we've kind of had front row seats to the millennials bullshit, so we got the most material for them.
Yeah, true. But I'm like, I did not see any millennial defending themselves. Like when we brought them on, because we weren't just talking amongst each other. We brought the generations on for a call in, and the millennials, they had nothing to say. Like, you ain't wrong, you know. But the boomers,
I'm
though,
reminded that bit from The Simpsons where Willie's like ragging on everyone, and he's like, "Damn Scots, they ruined Scotland."
but the boomers were the most difficult. Like that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad because we were just mainly explaining, like, out of anything else, the main thing that we are holding you accountable for is the economy, and that's it. I don't care about anything else, but the main thing that we can honestly agree upon, or there's proof, you boomers don't give a fuck, right? Because guess who is still in power on Capitol Hill? A shit ton of boomers.
Well,
So,
like I said, they're it's all projection, right? So they got to blame all the other, like it's all the millennials, right? It's like the millennials are just not adopting to the work culture. It's like, you mean they don't want to like take orders from you? Is that it? They don't want to like deal with your bullshit and have you basically get a power trip off of them. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes, right?
we see through your bullshit. Like your methods are selfish. Your methods don't work. It's all about me when it comes to money. You don't give a fuck what happens in the future.
Well,
You
yeah,
don't give a fuck.
it's the me
Like, oh, I'm
generation,
gonna be
right?
dead and
Like
gone anyway.
it's narcissism, right? So like that's why they took it so personally when they were criticized.
Until you threaten their
But-
social security, then
That's
then
going to
they
disappear.
care.
Well, if no one wants to work, and are all these Indians going to be paying into the social safety net? No. If anything, they'll be taking money from it. So eventually, the whole thing is going to come crashing down, and then they're going to be like, "We got to raise taxes to take all." It's like, and like millennials and Xers are going to be like, "Bitcoin, buy," and they just buy it, leave the country.
Yeah. Well,
You can't-
that's the thing. Like technically, like any worker that needs to be subsidized by the government in one way or another is stealing from the social safety net because all tax revenue comes from the same pool. So
Yeah, but it's
every
not just-
dollar spent on an immigrant is a dollar taken from the social safety net.
But it's also growth in the money supply, right? So Canada is in this precarious position where the housing prices are connected to the banks. So the banks books, not their books, their what do you call it? Their asset books, what they hold on as value are mortgages. So if all of a sudden housing drops 50%, they're screwed, right? Because all of a sudden the value of their book of business drops. So their asset base drops. So now they basically have to like, their stock is going to fall, right? Even though even though they're going to get more mortgage payments and income coming in, there is going to be more defaults. There's going to be more like issues to deal with. So that's why the government cannot allow housing to fall. And it hasn't allowed it to fall for like 25 years now.
Weren't they close back in 2000? Oh, no. You guys are in Canada. My bad. Never
Well,
mind.
2008 was a speed bump for us. We saw the market turning, and then they just pumped all the money in, and then it started shooting up again. And then
Okay.
COVID, it started like turning a little bit down, and then boom, COVID, everything doubled in price again. So it's getting to the point where even people who make six figures cannot afford a middle class life. So eventually they're either going to leave, or they're going to like go to the States, or they're just going to stop working, because it gets to the point where you're just like, what's the point? Like, I can't get ahead. I'm just gonna live and play video games and live in a room, and that's it.
Yep, I tell people all the time, we're getting to the point where, how you say, metaphorically, men are putting down their swords and shields. Men are just like why are we doing this? And they'll just put everything down and walk away.
And that's
Like,
one of the big things too, is that like especially with COVID, like that was the biggest moment where people were forced to stop their routines. Like honestly, huge mistake was to allow so much stuff to get shut down via COVID, because people who would just go to the theater for every movie out of habit, that habit is forcibly broken. People who'd go out to eat 2-3 times a week, all of a sudden they couldn't, and then because they were forced into that, it's just shocking, and they're like, holy crap, I have a bunch of money now.
yeah,
The habit's broken, and then they find something else to occupy the time. So when stuff opens back up, they're like, I'm already doing what I'm doing. Why would I go back to the old habit when I've built new habits?
well, they also get unemployment checks too, unless they didn't do that in Canada.
Well, now you've got the what do you call them? The stimulus checks. Well, they gave those out here too, but now that's all done. So now all that money is not coming into the economy anymore, obviously.
Yeah, and I try to tell people in general, right? And women, they definitely can't comprehend this, right? I'm like, the only reason that men are working so hard is because it's that long-term reward that they're able to have a family, create and sustain a family of his own, continuing his legacy, right? But now none of that even fucking matters anymore. Men have special power of living on a minimalistic lifestyle, just like what Dave Chappelle said. If a man can fuck a woman in a cardboard box, he would not buy a house. He wouldn't.
Yeah, and now he's not getting any women, so he's not buying any house. That's it.
Right. And then there's a lot all this trend that's going on, especially with the memes of an empty apartment with just like a TV, a fridge, one chair. You know, all these women are like, oh, why is he has nothing in his apartment? Oh, I'm like, well, once again, man, we have the special ability of living minimalistic. Material isn't really necessary. In order to have the basic needs, we are content with basic needs. That's what
Yeah,
scares
no,
you.
material is necessary to attract women. But if you're not attracting women, and there's no hope of attracting women, then you don't need all the material stuff anymore.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, how many guys need a good set of clothing unless they need some kind of social approval? And for most guys who don't work in an industry that works on social approval, like various businesses or like something that involves actually recruiting, but someone who works in the trades, like, they're not going to give a shit about going out in public in dirty ass clothes. It's like, whatever, I got off work, I need to get my fucking groceries. I'm not going to dress up nice to go out to the grocery store to buy my stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And Rodrigo had a question. He says women are not having children anymore, or they're going to continue eating their children. What's the fucking point in marrying? There is no point. I say it hasn't been really a point in marrying for the last 120 years, because once again, the traditional concept of marriage is dead, gentlemen. And you hear me talk about this all the time. What you are being hopeful for, get that hopeful factor out of your head, because right now marriage is just a business and nothing more. Okay. all that covenant in front of God and shit. Talk about I'm going to be with you, sickness and health, death to us part, bro. It's just straight up money now, and honestly, I don't feel too bad for men that still marrying in 2022. I'm sure they heard at least some of our talking points on social media. You know, the information, there's way too much information out there. Don't you agree, Sandman?
I think yes and no. I mean, I just did a wedding a few weeks ago where I filmed the wedding, and it was a couple that were in their well into their 40s. And I've never seen that before. Right? I rarely see couples, older couples, unless they're like super old and it's like their third or fourth wedding or marriage or whatever. This is their first, and they're in their 40s. So you're like, wait a minute. Like the odds of a guy getting married are, like 10% once he hits 40. So all of a sudden I'm seeing couples that are in their 40s now marrying for the first time. So something weird, like all the rules and things that we knew before are starting to like change. So like I said, the Indian men with the low sexual marketplace value are now getting Caucasian women. The idea that a man over 40 is not going to get married. Now I'm seeing guys getting over 40 getting married. I'm like, what's going on here?
I definitely know what's going on because once again, gentlemen, we talked about this, I think last stream or a couple streams ago. The pendulum is swinging back, right? Things are about to get pretty intense within the next 10 to 20 years, right? I'm not talking about nukes flying everywhere. I'm talking about society changing, like as a whole, because of all these men are saying, you know what, I'm checking out. I don't have to get married, right? If women are not going to hold up their end of the social contract, why should I? And this is where the topic of this video comes in, right? Now they are doing their chameleon things, chameleon ways, hardcore, gentlemen, hardcore. They are getting very aggressive right now. Have you noticed within this year alone, there has been an influx of female, quote unquote, red pill content creators?
Well, look at just Pearly Thing, or I can't remember what channel name. Like that channel is massive. Like it's like, was it 6 times bigger than Fresh and Fit? Like, have you not seen how fast this thing? Sorry,
Fresh and Fit is still ahead, but not that long. Like they're still ahead.
No. Like let me see.
I'm looking this up, man. Hold on.
Are you talking about multiple channels or just
type in just
main one?
Pearly Things on Social Blade, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so
okay. Never mind.
So in the last 30 days, just Pearly Things got 73 million views. Okay, and Fresh and Fit's sitting around 15, 16 million, right? In the last 30 days, they got over 200,000 subscribers. Right?
Rapid growth, yeah, because Fresh and Fit technically has more subs, but if we're talking view counts, then
okay. At this point, Fresh Fit podcast. Let's see what they're at.
Not to mention, Pearly Things has like over twice as many videos as well.
2 or 3 months, just Pearly Things is going to be bigger than Fresh and Fit in terms of views.
And see, man, I gotta say this right quick, okay? When it comes to just Pearly Things, right? And I explained this like 200 times. Ask my chat, right? I say it over and over, and I'm gonna keep saying it, right? The only reason that I don't like all these women, PUA, or whatever it is, dating coaches coming up into the space, right? They come in and corrupt the message, the very foundation of the message, right? And how are you going to listen to a woman about male issues? Like, how does that make any fucking sense? And on top of that, just Pearly Things had a history of me tooing a man and getting him fired at her job.
Yeah, and just Pearly Things is what, like a 4 or a 5 at best? Like in terms of looks?
At best.
I mean, she looks like she's getting a receding hairline. Come on.
And well, just because she got a little cleavage action going on, or showing off her legs, and literally saying the same thing that you've been saying for almost a decade, Sandman. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it shows a clear bias, and that's what annoys me. I keep telling men, right? Simps is one thing, but at the end of the day, after she's done regurgitating our talking points after she proclaims herself as not like these other girls, right? She's traditional. She's all what a man can hope for. Once she turns
There was
off that
there was another
camera, once she
channel. I
turns it
can't.
off,
There's another woman
what?
that came out like I think about a year ago. And her
What, Fem
channel
Sapien?
exploded. Yeah, Fem Sapien. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they're literally taking over the manosphere, right? So they,
They are. And recently, Fem Sapien said that a few weeks ago, she is not red pill anymore. I'm like, guys, you were fucking idiots. Like, you did not see this coming. You did not see this coming. Why would a woman want to be in our space without any monetary gain? Like, come on. They saw the market in there and they took it. But I tell them at the end of the day, once these women that you like to praise so much, when they turn off that camera, they're no different than the rest of these fucking females. They still have the ability to destroy a man's life.
but look, Fem Sapien looks like she's done. Like I'm looking at her YouTube channel and her views are collapsing.
She it's been found out that she divorced her husband and monkey branch to a higher ranking officer to marry. And I think this is her second pregnancy that she's going
Okay.
through.
Yeah, like
And
I'm
the
looking
fact that
at
she what's up?
Oh, but yeah, like what I've also noticed is YouTube channels, they tend to peak out about 6-7 months once they start taking off, and
Yeah.
then they crash within a year or two. They're gone. So now you're popular for like 6 months to a year, and then the next year you kind of crash back down to nothing. So that is now internet fame. So Fresh and Fit's doing
Well,
pretty well if they've been around this long now. That's been what, like a year and a half?
well, yeah, but the biggest chameleon of them all is still around, Roma Army.
Who's oh, Roma Army.
Yeah, she's still around all these years.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, let's take a look at her channel. How is she doing? Roma
She's
Army.
apparently live streaming right now, so
Yeah,
Let's
she's currently
take a
doing an
look.
interview.
Wow, no, she's doing really well. Wow. Like her channel's taken off. She's getting like 30 million views per month, and you got 50,000 subs. Last month 70, the previous month 88. So yeah, that's pretty big.
But it's because of her army of simps, right? Even though her past is completely contradictory to what she's talking about, right? The simps can't help it, right? These women, they whisper sweet nothings into these simps' ears, and all of a sudden, these women coming to the manosphere are the best things since sliced bread. That's what happens, right? They take advantage of lonely men, right? No different than OnlyFans. Doesn't Roma Army have like an OnlyFans or a secret Instagram account? Pretty sure she does. So it's crazy, Sam, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, I'm amazed that they're growing so quickly and they're making all this money. And what are they doing? They're just spreading our ideas.
Yeah, and
And
you're literally the OG. You pretty much are one of the first people on YouTube to start it.
yeah, like
Maybe-
it's not even just starting it. It's about inspiring other people to start creating content themselves.
Agreed.
Because I basically proved that you can make like a business model off of it. And then once I did that, then everybody started like, oh, I'm going to do that too. And it's like, it's like, well, if you're going to do that, like, then it'll grow really quickly. And then these ideas will be everywhere. And then, the OGs get demonetized and thrown off the platform. And then now it's being replaced by women who are trying to like subvert the narrative.
I completely agree. And Bully, yeah, Sandman, he red pilled me back in 2014.
That was insane.
eye-opener.
Remember how crazy these ideas seemed back then? It was like you'd hear this and you'd be like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing something evil. I'm saying something that's so evil and wrong. I shouldn't be saying this, but it's the truth. How can I not say it? That's how I felt. No, seriously, it was like
I was in red pill rage for 2 weeks, bro.
2 weeks. Try like a year and a half.
Because of what you said. I know, but I was able to get over it pretty quickly because I'm like, yeah, what Sandman is saying is making sense. There's no point in getting mad. That's just how they are. But at first, when you were saying all these, What's
Would
up?
there have been a TFM? Would there have been a Better Bachelor? Would there have been all those other channels if I hadn't broken the ground there? Probably not. Right. And then
No, they wouldn't.
so
No.
literally if that's true, then all these ideas have literally become mainstream because I initially found a way to promote them. So that's crazy. That's just to think that one guy with a microphone can do that, and now it's unstoppable is just insane.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, Yeah, even though things are, getting, corrupted because it's going mainstream now. The fact that this is worldwide now, like I'll be pretty proud.
Yeah, it's look,
Not gonna
I
lie.
wanted us to stay monetized, and I wanted more creators to come in and more creators to come in. And literally, MGTOW, if it had never been demonetized, it would be a revolution by now. Like over the last 5 years since the complete demonetization of MGTOW content. Like I'm talking about when they shut the acronym down. We would have literally like look what happened in Canadian politics. Like Pierre Poilievre was using MGTOW back in 2018, back when it was still monetized, to lure viewers to his channel. Right? Like, so what does that mean?
Yeah, how does that make you feel knowing that the Canadian Parliament is talking or
That means I'm under the watch list of CSIS and like the FBI and the NSA and Homeland Security and like there's like they have like somebody broke the news 2 years ago how the US government goes to social media companies and gets people demonetized or deplatformed or whatever. And they went through like the criteria that show you like if you're the highest risk. And I'm like, I check all the boxes. So I'm like the highest risk on their watch list. I'm like, well, that's just great. Right.
No,
So
actually,
yeah.
what's funny? You mentioned the FBI. So I actually tried for a week using a female avatar and female text to speech just to see if like I could get a couple more views out of that. And one of the videos I did was on the value of books. And in that video, I show a link to a website that I use to get a whole bunch of free ebooks. Not 2 weeks later, that domain has been seized by the FBI and New York City.
Well, speaking of getting free books, right? So or information, the creator of Reddit, he was going through, I think it was Harvard, and he was literally he put a computer in the basement, and he was like he connected to the server, and he was just downloading all of their files, right? All their like books and things that were public but they limited it so that only 5 or 10 kiosks across the country could access it at any one time. So it's like, yeah, you have access to information. It's like, but there's only 10 of you in the whole country that can use that information at the same time. So he wanted to download it and make it all public. And they made an example of him, and he was going to spend like 30 years in jail, and he ended up like ending himself because of it. And he was, if you, there's a documentary about him. I can't remember his name. Let me see if I can find him. But it's really, what's really fascinating is, let me see, Reddit documentary. Somebody in the chat might recognize who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, definitely shout out to the Thinking Ape. In my opinion,
Yeah, I mean,
oh,
You lose him?
you there? What?
Oh shit, they got him.
Oh, whoa, whoa! What's going on? Hold up! Wait a minute! Whoa! Hey, look for his channel, because this happened to Hammerhand.
Jesus. It freaking
Well.
mentions Reddit and then gets yeeted. So, well then.
You went too far. Let me see.
No, his channel's still up at least.
Okay, it might have been just disconnect. Oh, there he goes. Okay.
yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear you. You freaked me out for a second.
Okay, so I think it's Aaron Schwartz. That's the guy you need to check out. So there's a documentary about him, and he was fighting against all of this internet tyranny back in the day. He was brilliant. Like he was at the age of like 5 or 6, he was doing like code and going to these conventions as like a kid, and all the like the older programmers were respecting him. It's insanity. I don't think it was 5 or 6, but it was like I think it was 10 or 11 or 12 or 14, I think. But yeah, so he saw what was going on with regards to the internet becoming used for censorship, and he wanted to prevent it. And he just ended himself in the end. They bankrupted him in terms of court battles. It's pretty bad. So they were scared of him because he couldn't be bought off. That's the thing. Like, you have to understand, like, these people, they need to be able to buy you off if they want to remain in power. But the problem is I don't think they really understand what's going on. Like, I don't think they understand that eventually the birth rates are going to collapse globally, and then they can't keep growing their economy, and debt money can't keep expanding. So this is going to come to a head at some point. Whether it comes ahead in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15, I don't know.
I definitely agree. So since we're on that topic, there are various things that's been happening in 2022 on why I say don't get caught up in their webs. Don't get caught up. We already talked about trad thoughts, right? All these ex-feminists going around on the internet talking about, oh, I've changed. I'm a born-again virgin. Oh, I was young and dumb. Yeah, I'm a single mother, but I can still be a good wife. Okay. We all know that's bullshit. But now there are certain laws, especially this one law in Ohio, that a woman can sue a man for unintended pregnancies in Ohio. Yes, she can sue for child support. So, how do you know it's an unintended pregnancy?
How do you even know you're the father if they won't even let you do a test?
Bingo. And now there's laws being passed giving women the power to just point at a man and saying, hey, he owes me child support. I'm going to sue you. And she doesn't even have the kid yet. It's an unborn child. And she can still get money out of you.
Yeah, so guys are just not going to sleep with women. It's like too much. It's too risky. She could just claim that I got her pregnant, even though I didn't, and that'll be it.
That'll be it. And then, they can't comprehend. Oh, men are like, no, fuck this. I'm not like now.
They think that the thirst
to...
never ends. They think the thirst men have will never be satiated, so they can abuse us as long as they want. And then when they realize, oh wait, they're leaving. Oh, we better like make some concessions. It's like, but now they're gone. They're not coming back. It's like, what do we do? It's like, it's all men's fault for leaving. And look, you'll see all these trad thoughts. The moment they can't get men anymore, and when it starts to become really desperate, then they're going to go from like being submissive, pretend submissive, to being like angry and desperate again. So it'll go from like feminism to fake trad thoughtism to back to feminism, but this time it's going to be like 10 times more rabid.
Yeah, they're going to demand the government to bachelor tax us because they can't keep up with Social Security.
What are you going to tax? The guys are living in a one room playing video games. What are you going to tax? You're going to tax their sperm? Like, what are you going to tax?
They're going to tax something. They'll find something.
Or you can't. If the guy's spending all his money on food and shelter, like, there's nothing to take. What are you going to do?
It. Get, like, you know how it is? Go to war, go to jail. Now there will be a get married or go to jail. Bet.
Go to marry. No, it'll be like that film, The Lobster. Have you ever seen that?
No, actually.
It's in the film. If you're single and you don't get married within a year and a half, they turn you into an animal of your choosing.
Oh, jeez.
What the fuck?
So what happens is, like, at the beginning of the film, one of the characters, he's getting a divorce. So he's sent off to this like hotel for single people where they all have to get married, and they meet each other there. And if they get married, then they get to stay together and they don't get turned into animals. But if they decide to not, then they get turned into animals. A lot of them run away and live in the woods, and then they're being hunted down by the ones that just got divorced or are single recently. They go and hunt them and try to bring them back and turn them into animals again. So it's this bizarre film, right?
Yeah. I agree with that analogy, because how there's gonna be a draft, right? So if you don't go to war, you're gonna go to jail. There will be a draft when it comes to marriage, because guess what? A lot of men can't understand how much the system relies on us. They can't truly understand unless we explain it to them. They can't. If Men,
They won't even understand. Like, they're like, but someone will fix it. It's like, who? They don't want to fix it anymore. They're not willing to work in the sewer and to be covered in cockroaches. Like, I'll get a
agreed.
woman down there.
Because if men see, that's what people don't understand.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Now Yeats. Oh.
Oh, am I back again?
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
back.
Oh yeah, if men won't do it, society's done. It's done. Because do you really think that men or male feminists or people a part of the alphabet community are going to go to war on our behalf? Go to keep up with the
Well, okay, like,
strange
who
jobs on our
go
behalf?
to go to war against who? Like, the 20th century is over. The U.S. military is 1 million people. The Russian military is, I think, a little bit less, and Chinese a little bit more, right? So that's like 3 million people. If 3.5 million people in the entire world, in the three major superpowers that have militaries, right? So, like, what are you going to do? Draft millions of people? Where are you going to put these people? Like, where are you going to draft millions of men? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to sleep? Like, who are they going to fight? Like, the war is over fast if there's nukes. Like, so I think this idea that, the war is coming and that's like the world will be cleansed soon. It's like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more going to be like, we're just going to exhaust ourselves over time, and the human spirit is going to die the more, information and the spirit is like, oh, sorry, just yawning. Sorry, like, what will happen is, we're just getting suppressed. People are no longer inspired to do anything. Like, look at the culture. Like, where are the great literature? Where's the great film? Where's the great music? It's all gone. Nothing's coming out.
Oh, that's the
Like,
thing. That's what our opposition is waiting for. The United States to degrade from the inside. They're
but it's not
waiting
just,
patiently right now.
but
It's
the
not just that,
competition
but
is
that's part of the reason.
but they're in a worse situation. Like, China just copies everything that the United States makes.
Well, true, except for all that TikTok shit, and
They own TikTok. What are you
they
talking
ban.
about?
Well, how they use TikTok is different than how the U.S. use TikTok. They
Well,
don't
that's the
have
thing.
all
Like,
the.
well, it's more so that China directs the TikTok algorithm. So in America, TikTok is largely vapid socialites and bad lip syncing. Whereas in China, it's more so focused on promoting the sciences and engineering and various
Well,
educational career paths.
to keep it simpler, the U.S. promotes degeneracy.
Well,
Okay,
no,
but
that's the thing. It's not the U.S. doing it. It's China who controls the
Well,
U.S.-based algorithm.
I'm
but
saying
no
what's
matter what
happening in the U.S. That's what I meant.
but no matter what China does, they can't grow like their per capita GDP from over 10,000 a year. So, so that means, like, it's, say in Japan, it's 50,000 a year, and their population's 100 and something million. So, like, their economy is so much bigger. So the Chinese economy is not as advanced, and it never will be. They can't get their GDP per capita up. It's just not going to happen.
No, yeah, like I'm not saying. Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying our opposition is literally waiting for us to decay, and it's also not just when it comes to morality and all that shit, but economy and all that shit that is not really in US's control. The more that more countries starts to distance themselves from the US, right? Our recent blow is Saudi Arabia, right? Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia will much rather deal with their neighboring countries than us right now.
I don't know. I'm just think that the Western world is like, let's say it falls off the mantle in terms of cultural and financial significance. Who's going to
Right.
take up the mantle, or will there be a vacuum for a while?
I will say it'll be nobody's going to take the mantle if enough men become too weak, too frail, too confused, too emotional, or
What
other
about
men that just doesn't give a damn
Southeast
anymore.
Asia?
What about the what?
Wait, what?
Southeast Asia. You don't think that they have a shot?
What do you mean?
I mean, maybe Singapore. But again, the population's not big enough, right? Like, we need to get places that have a large population, that have a dominant culture, that can project power across the globe, all that kind of stuff. And I don't see anyone really doing that.
Well,
Russia?
unless America has another civil war. That'll be a big factor.
Russia couldn't wage a war 5 miles from their own border in Ukraine without getting their asses kicked, or like
Well,
around Kiev.
what I'm saying is, overall, America won't be the same again when it comes to if there is a civil war that breaks out. Hopefully, there'll be independent states, right? That doesn't really abide by people's rules anymore, and maybe Russia or China or wherever foreign nation, but hey, you want to be buddy buddies, want to work together, because America is not America anymore. It's split apart.
I don't know.
That's speculation, pure speculation.
Someone says Elon will take power as Emperor of America. Yeah, well, look, if he builds his robot army, he will. Sure.
Oh, Elon will become like Twitter is just his first step into world domination.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. He's going to win the hearts and minds of the masses. That's what he needs to do first.
He already has
the thing. Like, if there's one thing that Elon is fucking masterful at, it is image control.
Well, look at what he did today, right? It's like I'm not going to let H3 mess with me, right? So there you go.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm honestly saying, should I actually make a Twitter account? Is the environment changed enough that it could actually be useful?
I'm thinking about, because if they implement, because I thought they're going to be doing new features soon on Twitter.
Apparently he's even made massive strides into changing how Twitter operates in Japan, because apparently it used to be that if you went on Japanese Twitter, 90% of it was K-pop shit, and now it's anime, Japanese TV shows, like conversations.
So he's increasing the intelligence of the content.
Well, it's more so that he's taking away. He doesn't have to do anything to increase it. All he has to do is remove the people who were messing with it in the first place.
Well, the feminization. Okay, so the K-pop stuff is all these men have been feminized and they're being promoted, right? So now all of a sudden you're reducing that. So all of a sudden the men aren't going to be dressing like sissies anymore. I'm guessing that's his hope. But again, how do you subvert?
Well, no, that's the thing. It's not that he's reducing it intentionally. It wasn't an organic thing to begin with.
Oh, so they were just manipulating it and promoting that sissification of men.
Yeah, the sissification was being actively promoted, and Elon just took that pressure off by firing a whole bunch of people. And so now it's more organic, and it's just talking about apparently just more regular shit.
Well, look, I think just everyone is tired of the wokeness and the sissification. We're just tired of it. Like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, people are like, did you hear what happened? Like, no, I don't care anymore. Like I'm not even going to give these people attention. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to ignore them, and they will just go away eventually, because people will stop caring. Because, how many more times do we need to hear, oh, there's 59,844 genders. I don't care. Like, it's been like, you've been saying this for like 10 years now. I don't care. Like, these people will just, no one will listen to them anymore. But the only reason they got attention is because they were shocking people with their craziness. Yeah. And eventually their craziness will become so commonplace.
But I didn't care until it involved children. Until it involved like the actual system. Well, for the last couple of years, where they're being very aggressive, going to public schools and shit and targeting children. That's what kind of pissed me off.
And here's my 2 cents on that, for what it's worth. Is like, you know what? I'm okay with them targeting children, because a bunch of these people won't learn until it affects them. Why should I sacrifice even a 1/10 of my energy to protecting someone else's child from the consequences of their parents' actions? I get the kid's innocent and shit, but it's not my kid.
I see what you're saying.
If you were the parent and your kids start talking about this stuff, you'd be like, okay, what the hell's going on here? And you go to the PTA meeting, and and then they probably try to like throw you out of it. Who knows what's going on? Like, I don't know.
That's the thing, but like, it's not my kid. Like, if it was my kid being messed with, absolutely.
It's fine not caring, but eventually it will influence, which I personally care, your younger family members. or eventually your own kids.
Well, but that's the thing.
where
But
that's where it got annoying. Like my younger family members will be surrounded by these weirdo fucks. So that's why
But that's the
gave
thing.
it
It's
him.
the authority and responsibility dynamic there.
No, I see what you're saying, but family's
like-
family. So that's for me. Family is family, regardless.
I
I
understand
want them
that,
being
but
influenced by that shit.
Like my family that can be affected by it, they are so far beyond my reach to do anything. Like I look at them and I'm like, you're fucked. Like you were kind of fucked since birth, and I can't do shit because I have no power. So, my condolences.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell the person how to raise their kid, but I'm gonna let them know what's up. Like hey, this is what's currently going on in the current public school systems, and it's up to you whether you want to leave your kid in there or not. But
But that's the
you're
thing.
going to
Like
have to deal with the consequences. This to let you know.
now,
This is only towards
that's the
family
thing,
members.
like fucking public school. It's daycare for these people. Like that's the thing. Like honestly, I refer to public school as like, look, it is government funded daycare. The only reason anyone gives a shit about whether or not the public school system continues to function, like there's a strike that's just wrapping up tomorrow right now. And I guarantee you that it is not about the education or preserving the child's future. It's like, no. Parents want to be able to drop their kids off somewhere so that they can go work and not have to pay childcare the rest of the day. That's why they give a shit about the education system.
I see what you're saying. There's majority of parents that does see it as just, I want to do my own thing, so I'm just gonna yeet my
It's more
child
so
into the
they
system.
can't just like they can't leave their kid alone. Like they can't afford private school. And they can't afford to have their 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old look after themselves at home, and they can't afford to pay someone else to do it. Like, because I had a cousin who, single mother, that was her deal. Like, she had to, like, in order to work, she had to leave her kids with childcare. She was turning a net loss because she was paying more for childcare than she was making at work.
Yeah, when it comes to that, if I have a child in the future, that's a big, big fucking if. The child will be homeschooled, right? Yeah, like worst comes to worst, private school, but that's a waste of money, in my opinion.
And that's
They'll
the
be
thing. Like for
homeschooled.
homeschool, you kind of like for homeschool, you need a functioning 2-parent household, and good luck finding that in the West these days.
Oh, I'm not going to have it in the West. That's a guaranteed hell no. When it comes, what'd you say, Sam, man?
No, then probably not going to happen, right?
Well,
Unless you go to Asia,
see,
right? Southeast Asia.
Yeah, it depends because I've been in Asian countries before, and don't get me wrong. By the time I go over there, they're probably going to be all feminists too. So
yeah, you don't want to. You don't want your kids suffering from island dwarfism, so that's not a good thing either.
Damn. Okay, you're not wrong. You're not wrong with that, but
it's like the women who there's somebody sent me a video recently. It's like, oh, not video request. He's saying, oh, there's this woman I know. She's pregnant, but she's drinking. I'm like, well, that's automatic incel material right there because an alcoholic baby, like a fetal alcohol syndrome baby, they've got a smaller head, they've got a smaller chin, they don't grow as big. I'm like, wow, it's like the incel factory right there, alcohol.
Yeah, it's gonna be a WWE match if I ever catch my baby mama doing that shit. Like I'm gonna keep it honest. I'm gonna keep it real. That's not gonna happen. Fuck all that. I'm not trying to raise special needs babies. I can't control.
Same reason that you wouldn't go for
the end, right? It's
a woman.
all up to genetics.
I think same way you wouldn't go for a woman like over 35 for a kid is like, I am not getting with you to raise one child that is going to need a caregiver from the moment they can walk.
I like this person. I don't know if they're joking or not. They're saying island dwarfism is only a small problem.
Right? Talking about cesspool. Cesspool got joke.
Yeah. That's pretty good, eh?
But at the end of the day, gentlemen, there is a lot of a lot of, how you say, pitfalls, a lot of webs that's going to be uh woven in the near future. It's definitely going to be very interesting on the desperation of the state and women in general to
Well,
drag
okay,
you
so
back to the plantation.
this desperation of the state, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think they're going to be able to drag us back to the plantation. It's over. Traditionalism is over. This gynocentric feminism model is broken. It's not going to adequately reproduce. We have to go to something new. Elon Musk can go and tell everybody, "Oh, make babies like me." It's like that ain't going to happen. That nobody can afford to do what he's doing. So,
Hey,
Oh,
I'll
I'm
make a
just
deal
saying
with
it's out of
Elon. Hey,
it's
like,
out of
hey,
desperation,
Elon,
even though
I'll
it's
make
not
the
going to work.
babies, Elon, if you pay for them.
Yeah, sure,
exactly, right?
but like I said, it's desperation, right?
So
Not saying it's going to work.
let's assume that you get India, China, you get all countries in the world, their populations birth rate starts to collapse, fertility rates down. Even Africa, let's say the global fertility rate starts to crash. That means economies can't grow anymore, right? So a good year is a year where the economy doesn't shrink as badly as the previous year, but it's going to keep shrinking year after year after year. So what does this mean? Like what is it going to mean for all the houses that are built and maintaining the infrastructure if people aren't using it? Like, are we going to start demolishing houses? Are we going to just leave them empty and abandoned? Like, I don't know. Will the world, like, what will happen? Like, I don't know. But governments need citizens. So if they can't import them from other countries and their own citizens aren't reproducing, they got to do something, right? They're like, well, how are we going to keep at least our population stable, right? So I think there'll probably be, surrogacy in government orphanages, or, I don't know, like something's going to happen.
Artificial
Okay,
womb.
actually, I had a thing on this actually because I proposed it as the only way that the government will ever make women serve equal time to men. Because what value do they get out of women? It's not labor, it's childbirth.
You're creating future taxpayers. That's all you're doing.
But that's the thing. Like, imagine just hypothetically if future female prisoners, instead of serving time, they had to serve babies.
Serve baby, like at a restaurant, you mean?
No, I mean, like, they had to, like, it's like, okay, your crime against society is this severe. You have to produce this number of children before you regain your freedom, and they all go to a state-funded orphanage.
Like, you can go out earlier out of prison, like instead of 5 years, for good behavior, you're out in 2, but if you have this baby, yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But the mentioning of bachelors has been around since around the 1500s, around the Shakespearean time, like the earliest mentions. Until this day, people, they shit on men that just chooses to be single, right? And there was once again, I still have to find that picture I showed you guys on my community tab. 118 years ago, the suffrage women, or whatever the fuck it's called,
The
was
suffragettes.
talking mash. Yeah, they were talking mash shit about bachelors. Like,
Look,
it was pretty.
The next time somebody tells you or says, like, you tell them, "Oh, I choose not to get married," and they're like, "Oh, you're a misogynist." No, I'm going to become a Catholic priest. It's like, oh, like, like they just attacked you for no reason. Like, you just got them good right there. Like, I'm in
Shit.
seminary school to become a Catholic priest. Like, what are you talking about? It's like,
But-
sorry. Like, or I'm good. I'm going to go become a monk at a monastery. Like, oh. It's like, you can't attack that now, can you?
But I'm going to address these two things right quick. Results oriented. Plantations, are those Mexican bananas? No, that's a platanos. Pretty sure that's what it's called. But on top of that, I got a donation from Mr. Pliskin. Thank you very much. He says demonetization sucks. Like, it blows. Yes, it does. But at the same time, it's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Well,
Okay.
look, you forgot to call him Snake.
Snake. Plantain. See, look, I can't even say shit today. Yeah, it's plantains. My bad. It's plantains. But thank you very much, Mr. Plisson, for donating. And if any of you guys want to support your boy Sir Yeetus. Unfortunately, the only way currently is through Cash App. The link is on top of the chat. Cash App / Sir Yeetus if you want to donate. All right. If you don't, it's all good. No big deal. Because once again, gentlemen, I was making this content long before it got monetized, and I will continue to do so after. Because
Well, you want to quickly talk about some strategies as to how you can keep going?
when it comes to
Staying monetized, growing your monetization base, all that kind of stuff. Like keeping, you know, like I'm doing advertising, I'm doing merch, I'm doing coaching calls, I'm doing you know, I had Patreon until like a few months ago, which got taken away. Subscribestar, get on Subscribestar, start using that.
Yeah, Gray did tell me to go on Subscribestar.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, right?
Yeah,
reach out and make content with other guests. I don't know, like you know, like you reached out to me, you got me to contact you pretty quickly, so it's like, I don't know, like have a steady stream of more interesting guests, and you'll probably get a bigger audience.
I was so impressed, man, that you messaged back pretty quickly, because usually somebody of a certain status, right? Like, who are you, you mere mortal? How dare you message
Yeah,
me
I don't give a shit. I really don't care. Like, people are like, "Oh my god, you saved my life," and I'm like, and I get another message, "You saved my life." I'm like, at this point, what does this even mean? Like, I don't mean a lot of people, like, in terms of real life. Like, if I saw like a stadium full of guys who are like, "You saved my life," it's like, I know that's great, but like, and then you went out and you hopefully saved other people's lives. Like, you know, that's what we want. Right. So it's a ripple through time, and but like, again, I just did this in a video a couple of days ago. I was just like, I'm just getting tired of like YouTube's games. Like, all of a sudden my views just collapsed from like 10,000, 15,000 a day to like, I don't know, like 3,000, 4,000 over the span of like a day. I think it was that. Like, why? Like, what happened? And everyone's like, "Oh, we're not getting your notifications." Like, and then all of a sudden I have to go through manually approve every single comment. It's like, why do I have to approve every single comment on my channel? Like, this is just insane. So they're doing everything they can to demoralize me. So the best thing you can do is just like play a different game, and play a game that you can win, because they're pushing hard so we lose, right? They want us gone.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna continue posting the usual on this channel, but I'm definitely, like you said, I'm definitely gonna expand my influence on alt tech and various other ways, because
like BitChute is like, it's almost impossible to get discovered on BitChute, and it's stagnating massively for the longest time. You're on Odyssey, I think, so that's okay, but even growth on Odyssey has been slow the last few months, or like even the last year. Like Rumble looks like it's been growing. Looks like a lot of people are going over there, but again, that's like where the trad thoughts are going, and eventually they'll probably kick us off of there too. Like, even TFM was talking about that. Like, that's one of the reasons that I've kind of held off putting stuff on there for the longest time.
Well, can you mirror your videos on that one?
Well, I about a week ago, I clicked mirror content, all 3,000 videos, and I'm just waiting for it to kind of download them and start. And then I'm going to start, I'm going to do live streams on there, and MGTOW.tv. So the reason I never did live streams is because every time I got a strike, it was always because of a live stream and just reposting the live stream, and people would like, the people who recorded the live stream were perfectly fine, but I posted the live stream on my channel and I got a strike for it. And that's happened at least 3 times.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. I felt very bad.
3 times.
I was like,
don't worry about it. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's the fault of YouTube, right? Like, they're doing this. So they're intentionally waiting until something is said out of context, or something is said that's not kosher, and they're just kicking it out.
Well, I had a bad feeling. That's why I told Chronic, like, hey, you can keep the stream, but I'm taking it off my channel, because I know they're looking for some issues on that one.
But why didn't he get a strike for it?
Good question. I don't know.
Because he's not up high in the list of people they want to get rid of. I think that's pretty much what they're looking for constantly.
He'd be higher than Yeetus. He's lost 15 channels.
Yeah, but he keeps coming back. They keep letting him stay.
They probably got, like, you know what? He's not going away. After 15 channels, like, this dude got a lot of passion.
Up another account. Like, what are they going to do? By the time they find him, like now, lately, he hasn't had anything kicked off in the longest time. because they're realizing they can't win this battle because there's too many of us posting content and talking about these things. So now they have to try other means, which is like just Pearly Things. It's like, there you go. There's your ulterior motives. Just Pearly Things is a traditional woman. She talks about women being bad, but she's still a good woman. There are good women out there. Like, you must look for her. She is there. She will bake you a pie, and then you take your cream pie. That's what's going to happen.
Let's keep it
apparently,
real.
there's been a lot of. I think they've been promoting a bunch of dating advertisements too. So they're probably promoting these channels even in just like advertisements on other Manosphere channels. I haven't seen ads on YouTube in ages because I either use ad blocker or pay.
Yeah,
for
me
shit,
too.
so.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep it real. As a black man myself, have you noticed that just Pearly Things have been with only black dudes?
I don't watch the content. I just saw a few videos where she's interviewing people talking about red pill stuff, and that's it. I didn't need to watch the content.
Yeah, I don't watch her content
I'll
either. But
take
when I
your
do,
word for
like,
it.
it's usually clips. It's just nothing but black dudes. I'm like, huh. She has a thing for black dudes, I'd say. I'm like, all right. Even though she literally got a black man fired from her job off of a false accusation. You know.
Yeah. Oh God.
Probably because he told her no.
Like,
Probably.
I think in this day and age, it's getting to the point where guys have to go to extreme lengths. Like, I love Aaron Clary, where, you know, he's like in his that live stream I was telling you about, that hour and a half long video where he talks about these issues. He's like, you guys hear that? It's the hairdryer. The girlfriend upstairs is making noise. I'm like, I don't hear anything. So maybe he's just making up the girlfriend just to kind of keep people off his back so they don't call him a MGTOW or an incel. Right. So I think that's definitely a possibility. Like he like, I got messages from Aaron Clare, like, can you promote this book? It's from so-and-so. I'm like, why are you sending me money from him? And what's going on? So I'm thinking he's creating other like names that he's posting under an Amazon and selling books under different names just in case they get blacklisted. So he doesn't get all his books thrown off.
Having a bunch of pen names, it's not a terrible idea.
No, it's not. It's actually brilliant, right? Because he's making sure that they don't destroy him.
Huh.
I mean, heck, like, all of us are operating under pseudonyms, so it does make sense.
Yeah.
Hey, Alec, is this true?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Where did he get that information?
Right. I would like to see the.
Yeah, Alec, if you've got a source for that, we would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I would like to see the source.
That's an article. Yeah. That's a video in the making. Black men are the income source for top 10 OnlyFans models, right? There you go. There's your video title, right?
Well, we do, as a black community, have a very high, purchasing power. You know, but we tend to buy stupid shit, as you can tell.
And I'd be curious to see I'd be curious as to what they include as a black man. Like, are they including Indian men in that?
Did you vote for Sleepy Joe?
Well, sure, if they didn't vote for Joe Biden, then they ain't black.
I can't believe he got away with that shit. Like, what the? Just imagine if Trump said that shit. It would be fucking pitchforks. It would be bad.
The amount of shit that Joe Biden's done that you could be like, hey, if Trump had done this, then everyone would be freaking out. Like, these people
all Trump has to do is breathe and everyone freaks out. Come on.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It is true. He just exists. And I didn't realize how tall Trump was. Yeah. I'm like, damn, that dude's tall as shit.
Well, it's like, you know, especially every president of the United States has been over 6 feet tall, I think.
Except for I think it was two or three of them. No, I think more than that, because the shortest one was 5'4".
Okay, height of presidents
who was it?
Presidential candidates in the United States. Here we go. Let's take a look. Height in inches, 72 inches, 44. Yeah. Is Trump 43rd or 44th?
He's the 45th.
Okay, so this is before. Yeah, so Obama was 74 inches. So like Bush was a little like 72 inches. What's that in height? 12 feet per 1 foot is 12 inches.
What's 72? That's 6 feet right on the money.
Yeah, so that's Bush. The last one, I think it was Jimmy Carter that was not as tall as he was. Let's see. Then you got Clinton, then you get Bush, then you get Reagan. Yeah, Jimmy Carter was a little shorty. But other than that, it's just been going up and up, right?
Damn, Ron, that's fucked up. That's fucked
It's
up.
like, not only do you have to be born in America, but you have to be 6 feet tall to be president.
Roosevelt was not the short. The one in the wheelchair.
Abraham
one that
Lincoln,
had
6'4", and then he puts on a top hat. Just
Oh.
think of that. Yeah, like 7 feet tall. Like, who's this 7 foot tall towering man walking through town? Like that top hat had to be at least a foot high, right? Like, and he's already 6.5 feet tall. So he's 7 feet tall, right?
Yeah,
you just watch the crowd and you see this like chimney walking past everybody's head up in the crowd. It's crazy.
Yeah, and for no reason, yeah. Trump's son, Barron Trump, is tall as fuck. I don't think he's done growing. He's not done.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck are they feeding? Did they give this boy some like special serum like Captain America?
Oh, here you go. Here's the president's by height order. So you got Abraham Lincoln, 6'4". Let's see the shortest. I got to go back to the bottom. So James Madison was 5'4".
So I was right, 5'4".
John Adams was 5'7". But again, a lot of these are founding fathers. Like, you have to remember, these guys were like instrumental in creating everything. Yeah, Jimmy Carter was 5'10",
Right.
and he's like the shortest in like recent history. Teddy Roosevelt, 5'10", Calvin Coolidge, but again, 5'10" back then, when people were malnourished, when the average height was like 5'4", is still considered 6 feet tall today.
Well, what about FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
Franklin, 6'2".
Well, we're gonna have to cut that in half since he got polio. He had to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it didn't matter. He's a radio president, right?
this very popular president, right? Because he was giving out
Free goodies to women, yeah.
a shit
course
ton
he was
of
popular.
free goodies.
Like, does John F. Kennedy look like he's 6'1"? Honestly,
He doesn't.
I mean, if he was just a few inches shorter, the bullet would have missed, right?
How tall was
Well,
he?
actually, no, because he was sitting down.
Oh yeah, it
Height-
hit him in the chest. Yeah, you're right. So it would have hit it. But,
Yeah,
no, but he got hit
height,
in the head.
height is primarily determined by like leg length and limb length.
Ah,
But
okay.
even like midgets, tall people, and regularly grown adults, their torso size tends to be fairly similar.
Okay.
Let me address this right quick before we continue. Thank you for the donation, Malhai Ronan. He says Yeetus, Sandman, Gray, and Warband. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it very much. There's going to be a lot of changes going on, and this has been once again inspired by Sandman. I did not expect this to happen today, but
What's inspired?
now, because you've been talking about it for the last, I think, few days or a week, I don't know, about changing courses when it comes to your content.
Well, I'm most likely going to like I bought about like 450 pounds of Lego, and I've been sorting Lego, and I've been building all these mocks, and I'm gonna literally there's a new format. There's the channel called Bricklinks, or no, Brickcraft, and he basically he created this new format where he's literally building this giant Lego city. And he's been doing this for the last couple of years, and his channel is absolutely exploding. I've never seen anything like this before. And people, once they see like how crazy it's growing, there's going to be like tons of other channels copying the format. And
I don't.
And so I'm going to do it. But look, I'm using the money to work on other projects, right? So I need a steady cash flow to work on other projects to free men, and I might just have to disappear from the manosphere for a few years and or just do stuff on streaming for a while and just kind of do that kind of stuff instead until the time comes for me to put out other projects, because I can't survive financially off of what's happening right now. Right. So,
I agree. And I don't have the patience for Legos. Sorry. I don't. Puzzles, maybe, but
no, but
Legos,
it's not a puzzle. Like, okay, the problem
I know
with
it's
puzzles is,
not, but I know that my uncle, he had the Millennium Falcon Lego set, and I got pissed off after like 1 hour. There's certain pieces I couldn't like find. I'm like,
No,
no,
but
fuck
you
this
have
shit.
instructions. You have instructions. I'm building with no
But
instructions.
I was young enough. I was like,
I'm like looking at these pieces and I'm like, what the hell do I do with this? Like, and I'm creating new uses for pieces that no one ever thought of before. And people are like, how did you think of to use that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, that just made sense. I got a box full of these pieces. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Like, I got to use them for something. And I'm like, I'm going to make some stairs. I'm going to make a crosswalk. People are like, oh my God, I'm going to steal that technique. I'm like, good. I'm going to keep inventing new techniques. Right. So,
oh, so you're gonna do your own thing.
dude, I'm building Miami out of Lego. In my own version of Miami, a Lego. I'm building a beach. I've got like the hotels along Ocean Road. I've got Lincoln, like I think it's Lincoln Drive, the Lincoln Mall. There's like an open air mall. I'm building boats. I'm building like, I've got cars. I built like 4 or 5 cars so far. I'm building stuff that's really good quality too. Like, it's taken me a week to build one of these things. And like, it's not like you sit there and you're just like, oh, I plan it out. I'm like, what is this going to be? What's it going to look like? Has anyone else built anything like this? What pieces should I use? And I just have to like figure out what I'm going to build and have to draw it out and like plan it all out. And it takes a hell of a lot of time, like insanity. Okay. And then the parts, you're building something and you've got literally, I have a wall of parts and I'm just like, what part shall I use? What color shall I use? Sometimes I have to go through 10 or 15 colors before I figure out what I'm going to put on a building. Like, it's just insanity.
So
like, it doesn't. Go ahead.
I have a question then. Okay, I know you probably don't have any plans yet, but do you have a big plan? I mean, something bigger than Miami when it comes to Legos? Like, do you think about doing something like, a little bit crazy?
I've got a pirate mock that I'm working on. I've got it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, it just has to be something that looks realistic, somewhat realistic. So it has to look like the stuff I'm building, when you look at it, you're like, that looks like an actual building. It's like, exactly. I don't want it to look like Lego. I want it to look like a building. So you have to be. So it's tough because a lot of the things about Lego, like the studs, the little studs you put stuff on, like the connector at the top of the Lego brick, I cover all of that on my mock. So you don't see that. So it looks like a real building. I put a lot of curves on the buildings. I put a lot of, like things to make it not look like a box or square. I try to make it look more rounded. And then that way you can kind of hide. And then I put foliage, like I'm putting trees and plants, and I'm literally like, I'm going to put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plants. So it's going to look like there's, flowers and plants and stuff like that. So the idea is not to look like Lego. The idea is to look like something completely off the wall. And, but like in terms of plans, like I could do like a cyberpunk city. Like, I thought about building a cyberpunk city, like Tokyo, but with really tall towers and like stratas of society, and like cyberpunk. What's the video game? Cyberpunk
2077.
Yeah, so something like that. But here's the thing: like, I look at the cyberpunk, the video game, and I'm like, who are these idiots making their buildings gray and black in a place where the temperature is so high? You want to paint your buildings white to reflect the sunlight, not absorb the heat. So you air condition more when you already don't have enough energy to run your economy and city. Like what? So that's why Miami's all white, because it's in the middle of the hot, hot temperature, right? You want to reflect the sunlight away as much as possible.
So kind of like Mirror's Edge then, right?
What's Mirror's Edge?
Mirror's Edge is a video game series, dystopian future, first-person free-running game. But one of the main things is that basically every building is painted white.
Yep.
I'd honestly check it out for aesthetics if you're looking for design inspiration.
Well, I'm doing what's called so let me take a look at Mirror's Edge, first-person shooter game. Okay, so is it in a hot temperate area? Like, is it we're in an area where the temperature is really high?
They're not really. It doesn't really specify. It's more so about the first-person platforming. Okay, like, it's not a shooter. It's a first-person free-run platformer where you play as a delivery person. So you don't have a gun, but other people do. But
yeah, like I'm looking
the main
at
thing is that very minimalist, and it's a lot of white.
Yeah, like, so I'm looking at this, so it's white and like grayish white, off white. So I'm looking at it, but the thing is, I started building in white, so it's looking like Miami. And then Miami also has a lot of pastel-y colors. So they use a lot of like really light blues and yellows and reds and oranges and stuff like that. And I started using that and I'm like, no, like I don't like this. I don't like the way it looks. So I started using like maybe 20% of my buildings have like a nice blue or a red or a yellow, or so the colors, like they actually, some of them have like super, super bright pastel-y colors. So, but the majority, I'd say about 60 to 80% of the building is white because you want to reflect the majority of the sunlight off the building. And then I've got every single building has a different air conditioner on it. So I've spent like literally, I spent like 2 hours building a little miniature air conditioner to make it look as real. I got like little knobs on it and like vents and, like I'm looking at, go ahead.
Honestly, you could probably even kind of introduce the concept of like a class system because, like, say, like you have all these white buildings for heat efficiency, then you're like, okay, well, these guys, and they have so much money, they don't give a shit about heat efficiency because they'll just pump money into the air conditioner. So they build a black building just for the status of having the only black building in the city.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like if you look up, there's if you go on YouTube, there's a if you do Cyberpunk City, let's see if I can find these guys built it and it was at a Lego fair. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. It's huge. Cyberpunk Lego. See, look, I'm collecting pieces for it, like to build. So if you do Cyberpunk Lego, the first one, you'll see this massive city. It's got 277,000 views. It's like almost an hour-long video. And you should see what these guys did. It's like Blade Runner combined with like with Tokyo, and they got it's fantastic. Like I've never seen anything quite as beautiful as that. Like in terms of like using oranges and purples and colors that you wouldn't normally use in Lego. Because I've got oranges and lime greens. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to do with them, right? So I'm just putting them in a box. And I'm not talking small boxes. We're talking like 2 shoe boxes full of just orange pieces. It's like, what are you going to do with that?
Okay. All right. You got a lot of plan. So for the next few years, right? Since you're going to be
well, look, I'm going to keep doing my Sandman stuff as long as I can while I'm doing this. Like I'm already built about 10 buildings so far. So my plan is to release 1 building a week. And I'm not going to release anything and film anything until I get at least 20 buildings ready to go. Because once I get going, the problem is this is not like making content. You sit down, you find a topic, you record it, you put it out. It's like, if I don't have the pieces to put something together, I can't build anything. Right. So I have to make sure I've got literally like more pieces than I'll ever use, just so that when I'm building something, I don't have to worry about like running out. So that's very, very, very important.
So with my future plans, I do plan on creating a new channel called Sir Yeetus News, right? And honestly, and don't get me wrong, we will never run out of content that revolves around male issues, but I want to expand beyond that. I want to actually talk about current events or world events that
but you're
mainly
competing with
affects
so
men.
many other people out there. Like you got to find something different that people can't like copy, right?
Right. And I believe that when it comes to the quote unquote red pill, because in my opinion, MGTOW does talk about societal concerns way more than red pill. Red pill, they just love to talk about, just women. I want to be able to actually speak on the actual issues that revolves around men. So that's where I want to go next, because we already said pretty much everything we have to say about modern women at this point.
Yeah, we have. Now it's just things are changing. So like over time we can like tack on like, oh, Indian guys are dating white women, and now that's totally cool. Whereas that wasn't cool 5-10 years ago, right?
Agreed. Yeah. And that's something that should be talked about or addressed, because once again, right, like we, like you, me, Gray, Chronic, etc., we talk about content that other people are too afraid to speak on. And I do believe that there's a lot of societal concerns or current events that people are afraid to speak on as well, such as, war or the economy or, current politics. I think I want to dabble in that.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to think to yourself, how can I stand out That's the biggest thing. So if you got to make something of value that people can get only from you, they can't get from anybody else. So that's like, like people are like, oh, you said build the Millennium Falcon. It's like, yeah, I could go to the store and I could buy all the Lego and just put it on a table and be like, look how big this is. It's like, yeah, but I didn't build anything and I didn't design any of it. Right. So you're talking about taking stories that people already talk about. You gotta present the stories in a creative, entertaining way that no one has done yet.
I plan on having a delivery that's more intense than my usual stuff because I'm usually laid back and serious with my current channel. But I plan on bringing in more energy with this new channel because I believe in order to get through something such as, news or article or something like that, I gotta at least make it sound important or entertaining.
Well, no, what I'm trying to say is the reason my channel took off back in the day was because so like you have to identify. Are you okay? It seems to breaking apart.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, so you got to identify. This is the way I would start a YouTube channel. This is why my YouTube channel is most likely going to succeed. The new one that I'm working on, because first of all, you have to identify something that people want, right? So you've identified news. People want news, but the problem is, like, other people are creating that content, and there's so many commentary channels out there. So when I started the Sandman channel, the reason people started listening was, number one, because it was every day, and that there wasn't enough supply for the demand of content, right? So if you want to do news, like, why would I go to you where I could just go to Tim Pool? Like, he's going to cover the news on everything, and he's got interesting guests and all that kind of stuff, right? So there's too much supply, and very few people, the best people, take the majority of the views at the top. So you got to get into like a type of content that there's very little supply in, but there's very, very high demand, and it's very difficult to do because nobody has cracked the formula yet. Right. So, or maybe one or two people have cracked the formula, and now you're like, oh my God, this totally works. Right. And then you try to do it, and if the majority of people try to do it, they can't do it because it's difficult. Right. If it's easy, they're not, then everybody's going to do it. Like, that's the thing about MGTOW Red Pill content. Everybody, people listen to the original content creators, they take their ideas, then they just repeat, they put it on repeat. And so, like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, Manfulness and the gents are stealing my content word for word, repackaging it and making money, getting monetized. Like, how is that fair? So let's forget fair and unfair. But I'm thinking, like, okay, if I build my Lego city, number one, someone's got to have the space. Number two, someone has to have the design background. Number three, someone has to have the money to start the channel. Number four, the person has to have, like, they have to have all of these things, and very few people have those things. And then on top of that, the demand for that content is insane. Like, I watched other channels, and people are literally in the comments saying, like, I want more. Put 2 videos out a week, 3 videos. You can't do 2 or 3 videos a week. It's just too much work. It's impossible. Right.
Not
so
without a full crew staffing half of it.
Well, but it's not, even then it's not hard. It's impossible because you physically have to build it yourself. Right. Like, you can't just like, oh, I'm just going to wing it or mail it in. People will know that you can't just mail it in because the buildings are going to look like shit. Right.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, you need multiple staff on your crew, and then like you build for the like stuff that actually makes it onto film, but then a whole bunch of the other building stuff you pass off to your understudies, assistants, employees, whatever, and they build a whole bunch of the non-showy stuff in the background.
But that's the thing. Like, you actually film yourself building it, right?
Yeah.
The full-on time lapse, start to finish.
Yes. Right. So, like,
Yeah.
like I build the original, like, foundations. That I basically build the Mills plate, which is like a base plate system. And then I start putting the building on time lapse. And the problem is, when you build a building, it's absolute chaos because you try something, it doesn't work. You try something, it doesn't work. You're just like trying 50 different things. And then finally, after like 3 hours, you put one piece, you're like, that's it right there. And you don't know if it's going to take 5 minutes or it's going to take 3 hours. Right. And people are not going to have that patience. Like, Yeetus is saying, like, I can't, even with instructions, I can't do this. Imagine, like, fucking around for 3 hours and you're like, these 3 pieces and they won't go, and you're just going absolutely insane because these 3 pieces will not fit. You're trying all these weird combinations and colors, and so I've got all these things I built, and all the stuff that failed along the way. I have pieces of it that I'm going to show people. So people are like, that's what I tried first. That's what I tried second. That's what I tried third. And there's the final product. And they're like, oh my God, this is insane. Right. The process. So
I see
again,
what you're saying, because the biggest reason I'm gonna name another channel, Think Before You Sleep, got so
Yep.
successful because there was a lack of long videos.
Form.
Long form videos. And don't get me wrong, he's very insightful as well, but to actually break it down,
But not
Barney
only
style,
long form, but scripted long form. I told him to
Right.
script, and he started scripting, and then he took off.
right? Like, cause even I couldn't help it. I couldn't help listening for 40 to an hour and a half video, because the scripted form does sound way more professional and more, coherent than just
Well, that's that
freestyling.
again. That's why I've been doing scripted videos for 10 years almost. Right. So it's
Right.
like, think about that. Right. Like, I've written the equivalent of 105 books by now. Right. So it's like, well,
That
like
is
if you've
pretty
written,
fucking insane, yeah.
well, it's also when you write that much, you actually order your brain, because you start to think like, how can I use these words as efficiently as possible? And you start automatically not wasting your breath. So that actually helps. Like reading, and like not even reading, but writing a lot helps, because you start to use every word more efficiently. So yeah, no, like that's how Think Before You Sleep got super, super, super big, right? But like, so yeah, you identified him as like, he's providing content. Like Better Bachelor provides commentary and news. Like I would say that he's kind of the commentary and news channel in the manosphere that's the most successful.
That's true.
So if you're going to do anything, you have to kind of look at his model, and you have to kind of figure out how to stand out beyond that.
I don't really see people speaking. How do I say? You know how we used to have like gentlemen's clubs back in the day, not like the strip clubs, but like legit. You had to pay a monthly fee, and it would just be like, men only going
Yeah.
in. Nice atmosphere, a drink, a cigar, and actually talking about real issues, in a sense of not mainstream regurgitating shit like what Tim Pool does, but a- actual speaking on behalf of, a male's perspective, not trying to be like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and be a fence sitter. No, I do want to be that person to say things how it is, in a sense of the main thing that I'm trying to speak about is male issues, but it involves, current events. If I'm trying to put it together, like I don't know if you're following that, but that's what I'm
Here's the
trying to
thing.
do.
Even if you are
Current societal
successful,
events.
like say, even if you're successful at what you want to do, there's nothing preventing other people from copying your formula and doing it better.
True. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Unless
and
you
that's
do
okay.
something that they can't copy.
True. That's also true as well.
That's the
but
whole point. Like you want to do something that it's like, we're getting to the point now where if you say something, people can literally steal it word for word and like run text to speech software on it. So like why would anyone write anything original or unique if someone's going to steal it? Like it doesn't make any sense. The monetary incentive is not there. So then you have to create other things that are like, people are like, well, you could use Lego, and you could use you could do like red pill content in the Lego. And I'm like, yeah, I could totally build like a crazy cat person apartment and have all these cats. I have all these cats. I could throw it in there with a skeleton, like that, somebody got eaten by their cats, and there's the box wine in the corner. And, I get like people like, oh my God, it's some crazy feminist apartment. I could make it all crazy and dirty and whatever. Or I could do, I could do like SJW stuff and kind of mix it all in there. Like I thought about doing that at first, but I'm going to get demonetized and I'm going to get throttled down. And like, people are going to be like, why are they doing that to him? It's like, because I can't talk about these things. Like it's too effective.
And another example is Memology 101, right? Like he made politics funny. Like
yeah, but you're talking about like what's his name? Salty Cracker, right? Have you
Memology.
heard of Salty
Oh,
Cracker before?
I'm familiar with
You
him. I
talking
watch his
about the
stuff
cook
regularly.
No,
No,
who's-
he's a political commentator. Honestly, if you haven't caught him, Yeetus, I'll send you some of his stuff. It's
Yeah,
good
I
shit.
never heard of him. No.
he makes the political stuff really funny too, and he's bigger than the channel you just pointed out.
Oh, okay. But Memology, he keeps it in a very short format. So like people, you know how people these days they got pretty short attention span.
Yeah.
So
No,
he was
no,
able to
the
take
salty,
that to.
Yeah, the salty stuff is sub 10 minutes. So
Does
Yeah,
he
6
make
to
longer
7
videos?
minutes.
yeah, I don't think he's done anything over 10 minutes. I can't remember
Right.
anything.
But Memology does things in like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
like
so-
But he's doing
yeah,
also
Salty's a bit
multiple
different.
videos per day too, right?
yeah.
Right, but it gets like hundreds of thousands of views. Like, he's popping off.
Okay,
It
so
comes to,
Memology's getting 100 to
that
200,000
type of
views on
content because
average.
he's like, you know what,
100 to 200,000. What's Salty Cracker at? 100 to
see.
200,000. Same thing.
yeah. But he noticed that this is the new way that people watch videos, right? It's only gonna get worse with the shorts and
Yeah.
shit. You know, thanks to
Yeah, but
TikTok.
people want long content. If it's
like-
long content, would be considered 5 to 10 minutes now.
Yeah. Like,
True.
I guess the thing, like Memology's got like what 500,000 subs on YouTube. Salty's got over 800K. So
How long has Salty been around compared to Memology?
I don't know about compared to, but several years.
Yeah, Memology just came around not that long ago.
So it could be somebody copying his channel, right?
True. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, but
Salty's got 158 million views in November 2015. So he's been around for quite some time. And then let's take a look
you
at
sent me the
Memology.
video.
So almost at a 7-year anniversary.
Holy shit, Memology's like 400 million. Because he's been around for a
Yeah,
very long
Memology is
time.
popping off. Oh, I didn't know he was around for that long. Well, he started popping off recently then. Because once again, he's like, you know what? There's a lot of TikTokers and shit, right? They people are only focusing on shorts these days. So let's make politics in a meme format, and he was definitely successful with that part.
Yeah, but he used to be like he's been around. Like the problem is I can't look past 2 years to see like what he was like years ago. He could be down from many years ago. I don't know.
He could. I'm gonna have to check it out. But overall,
like,
the fact that he's
I
able
can
to
say Yeetus, like definitely there's a whole bunch of like your and my fans that watch Salty Cracker because I see references in a bunch of the chats.
what it says on the bottom, like Sir Yeetus's or Greg Ghost's viewers also watches his channel.
Oh no, I just legit
They
see
talk
people
about it,
in
yeah.
I see
they talk about
people
it, yeah.
in the chat talking about being part of the Salty Army. Yep,
Yeah, Herman sent me a video, so I'm definitely going to be watching it after the stream. Like, I'm curious about this guy.
No, he's really good. Like his delivery is funny, and it's just he does it every day, and he's huge on BitChute and Rumble. He's on all tech platforms. He's doing really well. So if you're gonna do news, you might want to do something like along like kind of with his humor or something similar. But
Yeah.
like I'm saying, like there's so many channels doing this, right? Just commentary is like a dime a dozen. It's like if you're gonna do commentary, like give people commentary on something they've never heard of before, something useful that will save their life, right?
Yeah, this is something to definitely ponder.
Like imagine when MGTOW was first around, 5,000 to 5 to 10,000 guys were going their own way watching YouTube videos, and that was it. And so now you're looking at the audience is so massive for content that it just grows and grows and grows. So you need to find something that's tiny right now that you have the edge on, and you identify, and then you just kind of jump in there like near the beginning and you ride the wave up.
yeah,
And you make sure you're not going to get demonetized by it either. Like you want to, if you're going to start a new channel and you're going to do like news, like again, you're going to get demonetized on a lot of your videos. right? Like, again, you're like, no problem, I got my channel demonetized. Yeah, but like, this is the thing is like, I want to make sure that like on my travel channel where I'm going to put the Legos on,
Right.
I have never seen a single video get demonetized. I've never seen a single strike. I've never seen any problems ever. Like, what are they going to attack? There's nothing to attack. It's milk toast. It's just clean, old, wholesome fun, perfect for advertising. So, that's what I'm looking at. And then I can take the money from that and I could throw it into crazy other things on the side and nobody even knows.
Because I'll dance around YouTube's rules when it comes to the new channel, but when it comes to this channel, like the main, like Sir Yeetus, that's going to be spread around in all tech. So it's something that I want to try something new out, and I do see what you're saying, Sandman. There's a risk, and on top of that, a lot of people are already doing this type of work. So it's something for me to think about. Who
Like
knows?
I
I
said,
might
you
change
got
my
to do
mind.
something. You got to do something that nobody else is doing, right? Or that's so difficult to do that people are like, I'm not doing that. That's just too much. That's like when I first started doing daily videos, people were like, how the fuck are you putting out a video a day? Like, I don't understand. Like, and people were doing scripted videos. They were putting one out every week or two. And all of a sudden I was like hitting it out of the park every day on a 10-minute video. And they couldn't understand because nobody thought it was possible, right? Like, like how are you going to do this? Like, and when I started doing it, then all of a sudden other people realized it's possible. And then they started doing it. Like TFM started doing scripted videos when he started as well. And then eventually even they went off of the scripted format and they went and done scripted stuff.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and the quartering is pretty much the top dog to do what I want to do.
How are you going to outcompete the quarter? You can't. He
Yeah.
shows his face. He does all like it's like you got to think to yourself like, I'm going to create something like if you can create something totally brand new and take a risk, and you might try 20 new things and they'll like all fail, or you see one or two successful people that do something really, really difficult, and then you try to add on top of their body of work. That's what I saw with Migta. I saw Barbarossa and I saw Stardust, and I saw content not being produced in quantities when people wanting it and constantly asking like, where's the next video? We want to hear it. Like, what? And I was like, I want to hear it too. Where are the videos? I'm like, no one's making the stuff I want to consume, so I'm going to make it myself. And that's what you want to do.
So what are your thoughts on the quartering? Cesspool ask.
Look, the quartering has been doing many different channels. Like he started doing like he's got that Midwestly. He started like Pokemon. I think it was Pokemon stuff, or what was the other stuff he was doing before? Something the Gathering, Magic the Gathering, I think it was. So he had a channel involved in that. So you're gonna have to try something until something sticks. Like you have to try a bunch of different channels until something takes off immediately. So
a Nufo, I could do something like that, but I'm not interested. I could do some sellout shit, but that would
but
just
you
be a
have to
boring
but
thing.
you can't just sell out. You have to be genuinely interested in what you're doing. Otherwise, people will see right through you.
I agree. Like I can't like ASMR and these what's it called? I know a lot of people are doing mukbangs, right? Because everybody's watching mukbangs.
Oh my god!
What the hell is mukbangs?
It's where
Pretty
you
much.
eat a shit ton of food on camera.
Yeah, that's it. No,
Well,
you know,
isn't that like
Nick Avocado, whatever his name is.
mukbang, ASMR mukbang?
Oh
Bang,
god!
black bean fried noodles
put-
and chicken nuggets. Dear God.
Yeah, they put down a
I-
No
shit ton of
talking,
food.
eating sounds.
God, I
Yeah.
hate people eating
51
near me.
million views.
I
Oh my-
know why.
Massive McDonald's feast with hungry fat chick. Like 2 million views.
Look up Nick Avocado, whatever the fuck his name is.
Okay, have you guys ever heard of a channel called what's it called? They used to do like something eats. They're out of Montreal. They're these like French Canadian guys who used to like cook all this crazy ass food.
Epic Mealtime.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah,
Right.
epic mealtime.
They fell
Like,
off.
that's
hard.
all this is. Let's see what happened to Epic Mealtime.
They fell off pretty bad. Still good people. Don't get me wrong.
Shit, people producing content. 10,000 views 7 days ago. Holy cow.
And look how many subscribers they have. You know. They fell
Because
off
the
bad.
subscribers mean shit. It's all about like you have to do something that shocks the audience, right? Like, here's the thing: they've been around for over 10 years, right? So 12 years.
Yeah,
So
but
Jesus,
like I
holy
said
cow, their
before, like they
channel is
fell
just
off pretty hard, because once again, their audience grew up. That's one thing, and second, it gets pretty repetitive after a while.
well. Here's the thing: like here's the thing: you have to make stuff that people want. Number one, and you have to do it. Like they've got almost as many views as I do. Like holy shit! Like what's going on here? Like
Yeah,
that's
they were just saying because
insanity.
years ago they were getting a shit ton of views, like millions. Was it
Yeah, yeah,
millions
yeah.
of views?
Yeah, but they were doing like at the time it was so like groundbreaking and original, but then they just kept repeating the same thing over and over again. Like you said, like you're building weird stuff. Like if I build Miami and I'm building a pirate mock, okay, first of all, within a year to a year and a half, I run out of room. So either I get a bigger space or I start like demolishing and building new stuff on other platforms. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. It's insanity, right?
You said they got too fat. I wouldn't say who's the main guy, the guy with the crazy beard. He's still in pretty good shape, actually. He had
Boss
a
or
recent boxing
whatever.
match in that what's it called? That Jake Paul or whatever the fuck it's called. Because you know how Jake Paul he likes to fight old people, but he recently had a match with another guy. He's still in pretty good shape. I don't know about his heart,
Yeah,
right? Because
I
they did a
don't
lot of
know
crazy
about
shit,
this.
but
I don't know about this. Like this is like it's just it's funny to watch because it's just like the channel is just falling off a cliff compared to where they were, right? Like remember FPS Russia? That was like fucking awesome.
true.
Like all these old time channels most people
Yeah,
don't
that
even
dude
remember.
was he the one that eventually he had to go to jail?
I
Eventually,
don't know. I don't know. 6 years ago, personal
okay.
flamethrower, last video that he put out, seven point
That
seven
guy.
million views. Yeah.
He had to go to jail for like a year.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
remember
what
him.
happened.
It was cool though.
Yeah,
Like he
they
was shooting like
compound.
AA-12s and rocket launchers and dragon breath, and yeah, that was definitely groundbreaking as well.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, it's all shocking, right? Like it's like you're doing something to the extreme, right? So this is how you succeed at YouTube. So for example, like that guy I was telling you about, Brickcrafts, the guy is literally building like and adding every week a new chunk to his Lego city. The city just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like he's now last video he actually rented a museum. He's building a fucking museum and he's running out of space in the museum. And you're just like, how the fuck is he? He's like, I'm gonna put this over here and that, and then I got a little bit room to grow for another year and a half. I'm like, a year and a half? What are you gonna do then? We gonna move to a bigger place? Like, what the fuck's going on, right? But he's making $50,000-$60,000 a month in the last month or two.
Yeah, that's
So
the only reason. What's his name? Mr. Beast. He's gonna overtake PewDiePie very soon
but
because
PewDiePie fell off a cliff too. His channel is collapsing.
even though he's still making a shit ton of money.
No, he's not making a shit ton of money. He's okay. He got
No, he's not.
29
He's
million.
still well. Okay,
Okay,
he's
look.
not making
Okay,
videos every day anymore. Yeah, I agree.
30 million views in the last month. Okay, so let's say a million views gets you $8,000. So 10, 80,000, 80,000, 80,000. That's $240,000 a month. For PewDiePie, that's nothing compared to what he used to make.
Well, true, but you gotta also take into account to all that other shit that he has, like what is it called sponsorships or blah blah blah. But right now, Mr. Beast, he is so outrageous. Like he even
That
shots
he
the
the guy
fuck out of me,
recreated Squid Game in real life.
which I enjoyed every second of that video. Not gonna lie,
Exactly, right? So
that was a good
like how
video.
much did that cost to make? Like you got to contact the extras. You got to like get a production company. Like
He said he drained his bank account. Like majority of his money was gone,
for
but
that
he
one
made it all
video?
back. Yeah, for that one video,
Yeah,
he
but
spent a shit ton of money.
yeah, you have to though, right? And then that gets you notoriety, but then you have to top yourself the next time, right? Like I've run
Yeah.
into this thing like with the crazy Lego stuff. I'm like I started off with the little ice cream building. That's the first building. Then I built the little pizza shop, a little bit bigger. Then the next thing I built was a hotel, even bigger. And that the next thing I'm doing with like lights and shit. And I'm like, how am I going to top that one? Like it's a nightclub with like a flamingo and light. It's like people see it, they're gonna be like, holy shit, what's he doing for the next video? I'm like, I don't know. This is insanity, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have to
And-
top myself every time. If I don't top myself, people will be like, he's mailing it in. Like, stop watching him. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually, what I
Mr.
see
Beast,
with
he's going to be.
well, actually, on that note, what I see
What?
with a bunch of the Warhammer 40K builds is that they'll do a multi-video series on the development of a singular project, like the Palace of Terra. That's something that's been in development for an extended period of time.
What's
and
this
it's on
for?
a massive scale. Warhammer 40K, so it's assembling a whole bunch of like pre-molded stuff, customizing a whole bunch of the bits. You got
What's
to
it called?
paint it,
Battle
lay
of.
it out. Palace of Terra.
Oh, sorry. Palace of Selene. Palace of.
But Sandman. Mr. Beast is going to be the king of YouTube for years to come because he doesn't just have one channel that's over 100 million subs. He has at least 15 to 20 channels that has at least 10 million each.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah,
Christ.
if you look
Yes,
up
he's not
Imperial
fucking around.
Palace Terra by Zorp.
Yeah, there I'm
That'll-
looking at it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
But look, this guy's still small potatoes. Like if I'm looking at him, he's making his Imperial Palace. There it is. Okay. So no, I'm basically doing the same thing. So every week you're gonna see an addition to the city, right? So it's like boom,
Yeah.
next building, boom, next building, boom.
Last thing, like I'd say that 40K is far more niche than Lego, but the format
Well, I'm
might
looking at
still
his
be
views.
applicable.
Okay, so yeah, but he's getting like he's only doing, let's see how many videos he's doing. Holy shit, that palace though. But it's only 30,000 views. How the fuck is he only getting 30,000 views on that? That's insanity. Like that's crazy, right? This takes way more skill, and yet he's not getting any views. Like, and it takes him 2 weeks to make a video.
40K is kind of niche, and the subject matter of it's a very niche audience. If you can, like, there's never been a mainstream 40K movie, and Games Workshop also screws around with the people who create content for them, unfortunately. Whereas you compare that to Lego and the Lego movie, I think that if you were to follow the exact same process but used Lego instead of 40K, you'd see a significant increase in views just due to the accessibility.
No, this is the Brickcrafts channel is doing exactly that. Like what he's doing is every week he's adding something new. And then so instead of a palace, he's literally building a giant Lego city. And all he's doing, like all the video, the moment you put Lego City update in the title, boom, all these viewers show up. Because there's a hunger for that content, right? People want Lego City. Right, Lego City. It's like, and then in the video, he's constantly mentioning Lego City and my Lego City. This
you might get some crossover with the game as well, because there was at least one video game that was called Lego City, so bit of cross promotion opportunity there.
It's just people are looking, they're hungry for that content, and I'm seeing the content that's out there, and it's getting like 40,000, 50,000 views, and it's garbage. Like it's like people buying shit at the store and putting it on their table. That's it. And talking about it, and it's getting like 40, 50,000 views. And I'm like, what? Like, that's like no talent, like nothing. All it is, but the thing is, people want it. They're so hungry for it, right? So the Brickcraft channel, he just made a video a couple weeks ago, got 3 million views, time lapse for the last year, putting his built city together. And it's not even the whole city. It's maybe like 10 or 20% of it, right? So like, there's a video, like after a year of building, I just put this time lapse video together, and it's going to get millions of views, no problem, because people are going to want to see it from beginning to end. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to do something that's hard. Like this Warhammer guy, he's working his fucking ass off. Like you can see that. There's no lying. There's no like, like this is passion. He can't hide the fact that he's passionate about this, right? This is, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like you got to.
And that's the thing. I'm very passionate.
Yeetus, that's what I'm saying. You gotta be beyond passionate. You gotta be like like a megalomaniac when it comes to like whatever content you're producing. You gotta like live and breathe it. You gotta like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You have to. Like people are not gonna like they're not gonna buy it. They're gonna be like I don't know. Like Tim Pool's there every day talking about things, and he's not getting bored or anything.
Right. And don't get me wrong, right? I'm still going to continue this content on the other platforms, but the new channel, I definitely see what you're saying. It's not that easy because once again, I'm very passionate about talking about male issues on behalf of men that are too afraid to talk about it, you know. Um,
But
but I
like I
see what you're
said, how do
saying.
you differentiate yourself from everybody else?
That's a good question, right? I do not know the answer yet, and I do have to think on that for a bit. I do have to
And
think
like I
about it.
said, do something hard. Challenge yourself because people will appreciate it, and then you'll know you're doing the right thing when you're like, I can't believe I put that together. Like that's insane. But anyway,
Right.
I'm gonna get going soon. But any last things you guys want to ask or what's going on?
Oh, I'm good to go. I think we pretty much dabbled on a good amount of things that men should be aware of as time goes by because society ain't as comfy as it used to be anymore. And if things doesn't change quickly, it's just going to get worse. And there will be a shit ton of uh grifters, PUAs, chameleons will be flocking into channels such as ours, you know, not just for attention, but monetary gain, because they know that the manosphere has has value when it comes to okay, these men have money. If I pretend to be this person, I'll be able to extract money from them. But it's not just that. Women in real life are going to act a little bit different as shit gets worse, right? But men should not forget, men should not be that person to just like what you say, Stan, it only takes one BJ for them to be extracted, back into the plantation for a lot of men, and that's okay. We can't
Well, you know
save
where
all
that
men.
that came that the first person I heard say that was Stardust.
Start.
One
Okay,
BJ
yeah,
away
Stardust.
from the plantation, right? Well,
Okay,
no, it's just that we say it so much, but we don't know where it comes from. And did it come from him, or did somebody else tell him? I don't know.
I'm sure it came from somebody else, but Stardust. How you say there's certain because my saying is, and I love saying it, unchecked hypergamy will only lead to promiscuity or loneliness.
That really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does, and like nobody can dispute it. Like there's countless evidence. Look at my channel, look at your channel. But at the end of the day, though, I know there's going to be a good amount of men that they just want to stay as simps. They want to do that, and it's okay as long as they're able to accept the consequences that comes from that. But for the men that are already aware of what's going on, don't fall for their bullshit. Don't. They're gonna. You already know how the state and women are. They're going to conform in order to have you feel that sense of security, right? Even though you're not safe at all. They're going to try to lure you back. Like, come here, we change. I talked to God today. God helped me change. I'm a born again Christian. And you're like, okay, let me go ahead and go back. Bam, got you in the trap. And now you're getting yeeted throughout the divorce and family courts because you fell for it. Right.
Yeah.
And all it is it's going to get worse. The desperation, like you said, eventually it will go from, oh, I've changed to marry me now, marry me. Like it'll get very
Yeah,
aggressive.
no, I said they're gonna get more desperate. They're gonna get crazy, right? They're just gonna they're gonna like people are talking about this at the gym. They're demanding attention. They're gonna stand right up next to you and like pose. It's like, look at me, look at me. It's like, no, I don't want to look at you. I'm
No,
just gonna
Look
that's
at me. I
yeah.
am
There
the
is
Capitan.
a
Now.
couple of examples. There's a person like there. I don't know if you already knew about this trend, but especially on TikTok, women will literally set up cameras and work out next to a guy. And if the guy even like looks in her general direction, he doesn't even have to look at her. He just looks at her direction. She will pop off like, "Why are you looking at me? Why are you checking me out?" So she can get some brownie points online. It's
Well,
literally
he's gonna have to
setting
talk
men
to her.
up.
He's gonna give her negative attention back, right? It's all bullshit. So we just
Right.
disappear. We work out at home and we just stay away.
That's what a
Home
lot of men
gym.
are doing. Yeah.
Like seriously, a weighted vest, calisthenics, and maybe a chin-up bar. That'll do you for 90% of what you need.
Yeah. Do push-ups, curls, and just do some what do you call them? Crunches. You should be good to go.
Like-
Dips too. Dips actually
Yeah.
do quite a bit for your chest. So like get like dip bar, chin-up bar, weighted vest. You're good to go.
And last thing is like, you know, who goes to the gym? Like this hasn't really been happening since the last, I'll say, 20 years. 10 years. Who goes to the gym with a full 5 pounds of makeup and wearing clothing that leaves very little to the imagination?
But what do you
Someone
think
who
Lululemon is
doesn't
so popular?
Someone
It's
who
a
doesn't
rhetorical
hate the
question.
sweat.
Like I know you guys know, but it's like, so I don't want to hear that bullshit. Oh, I wear it because I'm comfortable. Oh, I wear makeup just for me. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You know damn well why you're doing this, because you don't walk around the house looking like this. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't go to bed like this. You don't eat your breakfast like this. You don't walk the dog like this. Well, you probably do, but you get what I'm saying. Anytime you step out that house, everything about you, 99% of who you are is a fucking lie. Because you're trying to one day hopefully attract that good looking Chad and Tyrone.
Yep.
The gym became the nightclub.
I wonder if Gold's Gym is the same way now.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Every major gym that's advertised is probably the same way now.
I
Yep.
went to Gold's Gym and I'm looking at all these like women who are like sort of similar, somewhat muscular, and then just kind of not really. Right.
I'm like,
Let's.
you can
No,
ask
no,
these- oh, what's up?
none found. Oh, let's see. There's some in BC, Quebec, and Alberta. So let's see what's going on.
You can ask these women right now, like, would you let your daughter wear this outfit to the gym? No, no, no. Okay, so you know what the fuck you're doing. You know what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to be comfortable. Like, nah, like how tight those pants are, you probably won't get yeast infection down there.
Yep.
Like, no,
Anyways,
don't
guys,
give me that bullshit.
I'm gonna go. I gotta go eat something. I gotta take some medication. So
Oh, it's all good. I have to do some paperwork anyway very soon. But Sandman,
and
what's up?
yeah, no, I got to be up in the morning too, so it's a good
Oh
time.
yeah,
to dip
you do
out
got
as well.
work. Yeah,
all right.
but Sandman, thank you very much for joining, and hopefully you'll come by in the future. And yes, next time I'll be on time. All right, my nap went way too long.
No worries. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.
All right, see it.
All right,
Peace
bye.
out.
All right, great. Anything else?
I guess one
You
kind
wanna
of request
address-
to the chat is like, if there's some content that resonates with you and you want to see more of, don't hesitate to say that you're looking for it in the content, in the comment section, because we are looking for feedback as content creators. So knowing what our audience wants, what they like and dislike, is important.
Agreed. That's why I ask you guys all the time. And I know a lot of you guys like to tell me, oh, just do whatever you want, sir. You just do what you do what you do. Like, yeah, of course I can do whatever I want, but are you going to watch it? Probably not. So give me some feedback, so I'm able to focus on things that you're trying to seek answers for, especially when it comes to quote unquote manosphere content.
Because we can have tons of our own interests, but like we can do that in our private time. The amount of time that we dedicate to committing stuff to a video and talking about it, that's a whole different ball game. There's only so much that we can really dedicate that effort to. So let us know what appeals to you, what doesn't. It does benefit both you and us in the long run.
And one more thing, gentlemen. I will continue doing shorts and stuff on my channel. All right, that's not going to change. But expect a second channel coming very soon. And with the help of various people, including Grey Ghost, I'm pretty sure I'm able to pull it off. I'm going to do a test run on my main channel. And if it works, I'll create a new one. But like what we talked about, you know, a bit ago, I'm very passionate about this because if I wasn't, I would have been the bitch boy that just quits because I'm not monetized anymore. I'm not monetized. Nah, this is something that goes beyond money. So there's gonna be a good amount of thing. I'm gonna let you guys know. I'm gonna keep you updated because you guys need to be transparent about what's going on. You know, nothing bad. It's just gonna be a like I said before, Plan B or Plan C type situations. I think that's a good thing. I think it's time, in my opinion, to start branching out to other uh, platforms. What do you say about that, Ghost?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like figuring out more content. I've been experimenting a bit on my channel as well. So just trying to find a niche that I care enough about to post regularly, but also provides enough entertainment value that people are willing to spend precious time to listen to me or look at what I'm posting.
I agree. Like the waifu stuff definitely threw me off guard. I'm like, oh, okay. But I listened to the entire video. It was pretty good, pretty interesting. I liked it. You know, and like I agree with what Cesspool said right here. If the content isn't continually changing, it gets stale and unwatchable. Yes. Like go back to the beginning of my channel when I was making videos all the way up until now. I evolved a lot. You know, thanks Sunday Chronic, of course. But can't stop now. Can't stop now. Until somehow, some way, Susan yeets me or mysterious people in black suits come to my door. I'm not gonna stop. So definitely, gentlemen, hopefully you enjoy this stream. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Ghost?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun here.
All right. This is Sir Yeetus. Hopefully you learned a lot from us, the shit ton of gems we dropped on you. And when it comes to live streams, that itself will also be changing. A lot of plans that I have not executed yet, but it will be executed, gentlemen. Because, like what Cesspool says, if I don't continue to evolve, the Darwinism will come to effect, right? Like either thrive or perish. You know what I'm saying? But I am out. We are out. Peace.
Peace out.